everybody. I am Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. What's happening, people? With me is my better half. This is Reese Quibell, Relatable Reese. If you guys are unfamiliar with her, mods, put up a link to Relatable Reese. You're going to want to make sure that you hit subscribe over there because this story is going to be going on in a couple of different places, actually probably 3 or 4. We've got a lot of people now that are starting to tear this apart and look at it, professionals, so to speak. So tonight, what we would like to do is we would like to lay this out so that you have an idea of where we're going. We are going to build a case. Today is the opening statement. We're going to tell you exactly what we're accusing these scumbags of, and we're going to start to build that case so you know exactly what is coming. How are you, babe?
So good. How's your life, love bunny?
Good. Your eyes look fantastic.
I was going to say, you're looking real cute.
Oh, thank you. You're just saying that. All righty. So most of you know the brief background, so let me give it to you just real fast, right? My girlfriend was married to one of these lowlives. In fact, she was married to 2 of them, but one of them was completely inactive. The second one, however, was wildly in the game, and we're going to prove that because, unfortunately for him, this genius kept an awful lot of receipts, right? Almost like trophies or whatever. And my girl, in her wisdom, managed to get every single one of those. So, you reading something there, quick?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that we had started.
I like it.
Evidence,
peeps. It's
just some light reading with one of the demons that guards one of the caves to hell.
Yeah. Amanda, good to see you. Just Joan, how are you? Alicia, good to see you. Renee B, Sweet Liberty, how are you? VJ Burke 70, Kristen Melinda, Tony's Hooter, and G Mo. Hey, Shelly, how are you? Sarah Bowman, good to see you. Hey, Harry, we're funny. We like it. Pink Skies, good to see you. Yadira. Yes, Quibs does look sexy. We'll give her that. Muffet Lou, how are you? Liz Tricks, good to see you.
Yadira. Do you see what she said?
Yes.
She brings more receipts than tax season.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that, man. There really is an awful lot of truth to that. Amanda in Alaska, how are you? Lucia, Lionheart, Andrew B, Ann from Massachusetts, Twisted Sister Paranormal, Catherine B, Lori Abs, how you been? Taylor Miller, good to see you. Diane O'Connor, Jamie Wright, Amy Edge, and Garnasoul, Lady O, Kathy, you hardworking mod, you. Missy N, Allison Metcalf Palumbo, Danette McClure, shout out to all our mods, hardest working ones on the big red button. There will be losers. Stay on your game.
Yes, there will. And Mark Hardman, I want to tell him welcome back. He's been gone for a long time. I'm happy to see him.
Welcome back, Mark. Smidgy Snow, good to see you. Great Dane Mom, how are you? Is that Danny Annie? Erica? Rhonda Frank? Rose? Yeah. See, yeah. We're getting there. Shelly, how are you? Hey, Harry. Harry, don't use that toilet. Rose, how are you? Florence.
Harry, don't flush that toilet. It's broken.
Oh, people, please tell me you got that reference. You know what? I'll tell that story for another night.
Harry,
hello.
Your hands are freezing.
Speaking of the team, there's one of our professionals right there. How are you, Sam? That is Casper. Is a computer professional. We're going to be doing this thing in ways we have not done it in the past. By way of full disclosure, we're hacks. We're not very good at this. What we're good at, though, is we have the story. This thing is bulletproof. So you probably saw the thumbnail, right? Let's start with the painfully obvious, right? There's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to lay out for you. But one of the things that you're going to see, because it is painfully obvious, these people are hellaciously racist. Now, is that illegal? It's not, right? We live in the United States of America. And if you want to be an ignorant ass and treat people based on the color of their skin, you have that right. It's okay. Doesn't make you a good person. It makes you an ass, right? An asshat. But these people like to do that and then pretend that they're a completely different kind of person. And that's just a bit frustrating, right? So you probably saw that right there on our thumbnail. And the reason I'm putting this up first is because this is important to me personally, right? Obviously, that is about as racist as you're going to get. I would love to tell you that this was made in 1931, right? Or 1929, but it was not. These are modern pins that are being used constantly. And this may explain why. Do you guys get a look at this right here, right? Are we even playing games? What is that?
Take down Sam's comment.
Okay. That's
just for the full effect.
Are you seeing this? That right there, people, is a swastika. Just in case we had any doubt that these guys were actually who they claim to be. Later on, I am going to show you some things that they did at their annual meeting, not in 1965. I'm going to play you some jokes and let you see some things that these people are doing currently. The kind of jokes they tell when they think the doors are shut. I got a transcript. We're going to show you some of the things and the way that these people talk. They're Nazis. Make no mistake there. Make no mistake there. And that's fine. Nothing illegal about that. But let's let the world know who they are, because I think that that's an important thing. Not everything they do is illegal, I promise you. However, we're going to build you a pretty good case about the things that they do that are illegal, right? Promise you. Now we're going to get this thing underway, but I wanted to start with something that I found kind of fascinating. You have heard us say some of the creeds of these people. This one is called Ode to Love, and I thought that this is an appropriate thing to kick off with. The wonderful love of a beautiful maid, babe. The love of a staunch, true man, the love of a baby unafraid, has existed since time began. But even the greatest love and love of loves, even greater than that of a mother, is the tender, passionate, infinite love of one drunken bum to another. This is the Jesters. What is more important to these people than anything on earth, right, is the objectifying of women. They use animals throughout all of their imagery, right? One of the ones that we continually see come up again and again is a very nasty reference to a joke that got a lot of traction back when I was a kid. And it is, these people call women really horrific names. There is so much of this, people, that it's terrifying. If you look at that top row right here, you're going to see this is Harry S. Truman, the president, Gerald Ford, the president. There are a lot of people that have been a part of this who I promise you are wildly, wildly successful people. Presidents. Do you see all of the iconography? I cannot say the word. All of the symbolism. There's an awful lot of people involved in this who are in law enforcement. Do you see all of the badges? Do you see all of the references? Now, again, you're going to see a lot of animals. You're going to see a lot of this stuff. The animals and all of this make references for the simple reason to make it so that the people that they are having intercourse with are treated as animals. There's an awful lot of images of people having sex with pigs, and it says down below, making bacon. And the joke used to go, how do you make bacon? And the punchline, of course, is you F a pig. This is a recurring theme with these people. There is absolutely nothing that these great members of society do to make anything about women look anything healthy. By design, they do everything within their power to make women look like they're worthless. And it's a recurring theme, you see, right? Throughout all of their literature, you leave to go home, right? To your family, but you leave your loved ones behind. If you've watched Recent Eye at all, you have heard her come out and read one of the creeds of these people is that if you're gone, you're not home, you have to be willing to allow these jesters to enter your home and live there as if, no problem. You got a wife? Your friends are going to come by while you're gone and stay there. There is, and I will prove it to you, there is a lot of swapping that is going on. And the incredible thing is that the vast majority of these wives don't realize that this is going on behind the scene. We are going to show you before this is over text messages from people talking about their wives, talking about their girlfriends, and talking about them in terms of sharing them. There are text messages that you're going to see that are really, really disturbing. The objectification of women. And I'll tell you what, there are a ton of screenshots from conversations that took place. Did you register for the lake party? A lot of you remember us destroying a lake party. This is an earlier one. No, somebody did. May 1st, somebody registered, and even early night Wednesday. Not me, though. This conversation is taking place between a prostitute and a Royal Order of Jester who my girlfriend was once married to. And the question, this is important stuff, because the question comes up, would Reese have done this? I don't know what email address. I don't know. I'll ask. This next person is a Jester in good standing, a friend of his. I've had several people tell me that you're registering and you are attending. This is a line of BS that they're trying to blame on our girl. They're trying to pin this on Reese. It's Jason who's freaking out. I think he knows he told Reese too much. This is important because it verifies the stories that Reese told you. She showed up and said to this person, hey, what's going on? I know that there's prostitution and this and that. And what did the guy say to you, Reese?
I'm in charge of getting all the girls. What is it that you want to know?
What questions have you got? And he thinks he told Reese too much. And he did. He sure did. Stuff I didn't even know about. Well, we hadn't had a chance to discuss the night of Starlight. I called him out again. He has changed his tune from what he told us about the ladies' Christmas party. Oh, is he admitting that he screwed up now? No, opposite. He's saying he didn't say a thing. This will go to show you that when they say Reese is full of crap and made all of this up, these are the people behind the scenes who know that everything that was said to Reese was a fact, right? You heard what she said, and some of that shit I really didn't know. We do need to talk to someone. He's scared for certain. By the way, there are in the ballpark of 300 screenshots like that. You will see conversations before this is ended. Before we finish this up, you are going to see conversations where they talk about things like picking out prostitutes and talking about their attributes. Just for craps and giggles. Give you an idea, right? You see images of these people, and if you can read what that guy says down there at the bottom, right? If not, I may have to pull it up on.
I'm not sure she has enough going for her for me to think she's special. Let the women games begin.
These are guys who are getting their rocks off, picking women, right? No problem. No problem. This one, however, they seem to be a little bit more enthused about. Table ready. Do you guys get that reference?
No, it says table grade.
Sorry, table grade. You know what that reference is? We have talked on here about something that came up on the in the Diddy case. The Royal Order of Jesters are fond of something that they call the Royal Buffet, isn't that right? This is a nude woman or two.
The Royal Table.
The Royal Table. 1 to 2 nude women. If there are 2, they're feet to feet. And their entire body is covered with whatever. Right? That is, by the way, that's completely cool. If you want to do that and everyone's consenting, I don't care. I have a problem that we do it tax-free. And the other problem I have is with consent. You guys are going to talk to me and you're going to send me emails and we're going to hear questions about prostitution. This isn't prostitution. You all right, babe?
Yeah.
You got this. This is not prostitution. This is human tea. It's a completely different thing. I can read to you the difference. Before we're done, I will. These people aren't making choices based on choices. If they were, second gens become an issue, right? Mom's a prostitute, daughter's a prostitute, working within the realm. Does anyone else find that a little bit disturbing? What is the Leroy button all about? Well, the Leroy button is exactly what it looks like. These people with an alleged 100,000 members just in the United States of America does not have one black member. Did you catch that? In 2024, that's a pin that they're continuing to use. Jesters of Tennessee, Coon Degree, they're printing pins in this day and age with swastikas on them. The jokes that I'm going to wrap up this with, and you're going to hear the things that these people say and how they view black people, which once again, isn't illegal. We're going to show you a lot of stuff that is. However, it's going to tell you who these people are. You see, the big BS about this is that what these gentlemen do is they put forth this image of these guys that are holier than thou. They went through the Mason Code, right? They are solid citizens who have overcome the desires of the flesh. But they haven't, right? They haven't at all. And for the who cares people in the crowd, and there's always going to be who cares people. Because you know what? Honestly, there are people that aren't going to care. You asked about people who might be famous. Well, this cat's still in business. This is a Royal Order of Jesters member, Florida Congressman Michael Bilrakis. I didn't put the word prostitution or tax fraud or human tea up there on the screen. That's not me, right? That's what he's talking about on the floor of Congress. This is what he is going off about, right? The nerve of these people. Well, the hypocrisy of this guy is in force. I don't know how you could belong to this organization and then stand on the floor of Congress and make this kind of impassioned plea. But again, we're going to show you that there are a lot of people in politics just like this cat. This guy's just a fun, easy one to throw at you, but there's going to be others. There are going to be judges who are trying to become Supreme Court judges, state, not federal. But they're out there. And this is in plain sight. Can you imagine this as a possibility? Because in 2008, the Jesters got into trouble, got busted for human tea, for a lot of other really foul crimes that you can look up, right? This is a case that happened. Unfortunately, it didn't really get the traction it should have, especially when you consider that the judge in that case. Hold on one second. Yeah, that's great. Where we end up with, that is an issue, right? Where this becomes an issue for me is that there is a judge. This is not debate. I'm not saying allegedly. There is a judge who, after prosecuting women from the bench for prostitution, then hired them to work for the realm. If you believe that what these people are doing is just having a good time, feel free to move on. I get it. I get it. But there are hundreds, right, of these meetings that go on and these parties that go on. And the craziest part of all of this is, right, the craziest part of all of this is we're paying for it. We're paying for it. They're taking cash, right, and funneling it into this that gives absolutely nothing to society. In fact, they're proud as hell of the fact that it gives nothing to society. This is about them partying. See these people, right? This is evidence from a case out of Brazil. Those are Jesters on that boat. And they are ferrying those women out to a larger boat where they are going to be, air quotes, right, maids. Now, these people found out that they weren't maids and that what they were really going to be doing on that boat was drinking, doing drugs, partying, and having sex with old men. Now, to be really honest, according to everything I read, they were really happy with that idea because it was a hell of a lot more money. And for people who live in places like this, a hell of a lot more money can be huge. Trouble is, as the Jesters, being Jesters, hung out with these people for all of that time on the boat, when the time came to leave, they stiffed them. They paid them about 30% of what the agreed price was. By the way, that's the third time I have found that these people said, oh yeah, they couldn't come up with all of the money to pay him. Well, excuses, some guy did this or someone absconded with that. Or this is the difference between human tea and prostitution. Prostitution, people choose who they're going to sleep with. These people end up getting roped into this. And then when they decide they're going to pay these people less, we're going to show you screenshots where things are said like, hey, I understand you made $5,000 last week, but I also understand you were charging $129 an hour to sleep with these men. And we're cool with you charging $200. Probably should have been making a little bit more. This is being talked about like it's legal and like it's a business. We're going to show screenshots that prove that these individuals were trying to set this up permanently. You know what? Who needs to have one of these things every single week? What if we just got a building, put a bunch of prostitutes in it, right? They call them brothels usually in other countries, right? Whorehouses in some places. But they were going to set this up outside the realm, right? The Mirth Mansion, I believe, was the name that they were going to roll with. The Mirth Mansion. What these people have been doing in plain sight for 100 years is disgusting. And recently, on one of our feeds, somebody said, how do you spot these people? Well, they've been able to run wild for 101 years. And they've been able to run wild for 101 years based on what? Based on the fact that no one cares. There's a couple of businessmen. They go out the weekends. They drink beer. Yeah, there are chicks there. They do stag parties or whatever. You can go back when this video is done and blow up the shots that I did where you see like 70 or 80 of those pins in one place, right? And you're going to see all kinds of pins that say things like, hey man, this is just stag. Whatever you do, right? There's not going to be any women there. And it's always a couple of dudes doing kind of this tongue-in-cheek thing, right? Because obviously there's a ton of women there. What's not there is your girlfriend or your wife. Also, we're going to show you where it is rare as hell to find a jester that doesn't have a wife. It is rare. Now, I don't know whether or not they are targeting that 197 courts. Now, we're going to show you the books from these courts. 107,000 in the account, 190,000 in the account, 65,000 in the account. These people are bringing in six figures every single year, bar none. Multiply that by 197, right? And realize that about 31 or something like that percent of that should have gone somewhere to help homeless people or to help school children, right? Some government program. But instead, these lowlives are going to keep that cash, right? So that they can hire people in this country and in others, and in some cases, underage people. Yeah, I kid. It's got to be hard. And I apologize in advance. Quibs, I do. I get salty, and I'll tell you why. I get salty for a bunch of reasons. And I know that a lot of other people are going to as well. Again, a lot of this stuff is not illegal, right? It isn't. And if that's where your cutoff is, that's fine. But the guy they're picking on with this Leroy tag could easily be my brother, right? That could be Q. These guys are scumbags. No other way to put it. They're not the salt of the earth. They're not the best of society. That's a swastika, right? Familiar with Hitler. This is symbols that these people want to be using in this day and age. What do we got going on, right? What do we got going on? Quibs, do me a favor, because there have been some questions. Can you run through how the vast majority of what you got? Can you walk us through how these images came to be in your possession? So I think this is important.
Yes, I started collecting once I found out about this. I already knew in my mind that there was something really, really wrong once the guy I married said, "Hey, I go to these parties," and thank you for saying that comment. I go to these parties and they're for 5 days, and I can't have my phone, and I assure you it's all about fellowship. I knew right away that I was being lied to, and I said that directly to him. I don't usually hide it. I just said, it's absolutely inaccurate, and there's something going on. I'm going to find out what it is. And he said, there's nothing going on. You should feel very lucky. You're very honored to be married one of these guys. They're the top, most ethical echelon of gentlemen on planet Earth. And I'm not lying. Those were the words he used.
No, there.
And even that tipped me off more to know something was really wrong here. And I just knew it. I felt it. I smelled it. I knew it. And he went to one of the parties called JOT, Jesters of Texas. It was June of one year, and he always locked all of his stuff, locked his computer. Well, he gave me the passwords to his computer after, but he left his computer open that weekend, that time that he went to that party. It was a mistake. He left it open. And I immediately, thank you, Shelly. I immediately, for those 5 days, I went back. I went through everything with a fine-tooth comb. I went through all of it. I took every photo I could possibly take. Now, the photos are not great because I was looking at a computer and I was taking pictures with my phone. It's not like I could take screenshots. I was on a computer and and it's just probably something from my Scientology. I just collected all the evidence. I don't know. I mean, I did work in the ethics department of Scientology, so I don't know where it came from. I've always been a bit of a sleuth. I don't know if that's a female thing, but I always find out. Maybe it's because I'm Italian. I'm not sure. It's one of those things, but I always find out. So thank you, Deanna. And I took every possible photo I could. I went back years and years. I took every picture of emails and prostitution messages going back and forth between the women and my husband. And that was the start of it all. And then I went on for 4 years after that to collect every piece of evidence I could. So it wasn't hard to collect because he came home from that party and I just said, we need to have a chat because you left your computer open. You're an idiot. And I was right. And he didn't really try to deny it. But anyway, the point is going forward from there, he was pretty open with me about it. He was, there was nowhere to run with it. For about a year, he shared every single answer he could. He told me everything I wanted to know. But then after that, the gaslighting started. He started denying it. And years after that, he would say, "You're crazy. You don't have anything. You have no evidence of anything. No one will believe you. You will be silenced. You will be murdered." So all those things kind of started to pile up, and that made me more angry. And I said this to him repeatedly: if you would just be my husband about it, if you would just be a human being of truth and say, "You're right. We're a part of this. It's a sleazebag organization. You're absolutely right about everything you're telling me," I would have had more respect for him. And I told him that repeatedly. If the fact that he kept denying it and trying to say I was nuts made me want to dig more. So I never stopped digging, and I found more and more and more, even up to a couple of weeks before I moved out.
No, the day.
Probably.
You had to move the Suburban the day, or whatever the big Ford. Yeah.
Probably. So the answer to that was a long answer, but I have been collecting screenshots, pictures, and physical things for 4 years. So this is like a story that I've been kind of hoarding and keeping to myself for 4 years, as he has, and his friends have said, like, "You're absolutely nuts. Like, how would we get away with that? We're not doing that. Whatever you think we're doing, we're not doing." And I just would say every time, "You guys are way too late. You're way too late. I'm way ahead of you. I've got way too much on you." So
way too
not
much.
really understanding why you think that I'm going to snap and break. And I would say that to him. I don't know if this happened, what you did to previous women, but I'm definitely came from Scientology, and I feel like we're kind of trained for this kind of stuff. I'm not going to go insane.
Yeah. Well, number one, Quibs, I'm proud of you to beat hell. Number two, she probably will write a book. Just real briefly, because we're going to continue, but I want to cover some questions that I saw go by. I do realize that the swastika was stolen by the Nazis. I do realize that it was an Indian symbol, and Sanskrit, long before that's been used so many times. Trust me when I tell you, if there was a 1 in 1,000 chance that what they meant by that was the symbol, which, by the way, would be a reverse version of a Swazi, if I thought there was a chance of that, then I wouldn't present it that way. But once again, if it were just a swastika, but you see that right there, right? That's pretty darn clear. That's about as racist an image as you could possibly create in this day and age. Although we have patches, we have a lot of these things in like real copies of them. They're a little harder to show you that way, which is why you're going to be seeing a lot of photos. But Reese has the patch that she showed you earlier. The word coon, people, is not a nice word. It is it's a pejorative that is used as a racial slur. I think we all know this. And these people stitch these things onto the stuff they wear. They wear these pins. It is so open and out in your face with the things that they do, and that includes the racism. Now, we've seen this in other organizations. They will start pumping the brakes, and I mean fast, right? Real fast. They're going to start trying to fix this. They already have one person who's not white. How about that? They're making headway. 100,000 allegedly, and they got an Asian fella. God bless him. You really got to want to be in there, I guess, to be the only non-white in the entire place. But in 2024, right, this is the kind of stuff that is happening, right? It is a symbol of the universe, and I'm not angry about that. But they are representing it as a way to show hate. So no matter what the hell it meant before, right, it is being used to show hate. That is the purpose. It's to show that they're not fond of people that aren't white. And you know something? If there were 40% members who were non-white, you could say, you know what? Maybe it's bad taste, but it's no big deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And at their annuals, we're going to let you see what the jokes, the things that these people say. These are rank, nasty individuals. There's nothing classy about any of these people. Nothing. We're also going to show receipts in ways that you probably can't imagine. For instance, we're going to show you emails that say, "Hey, bought your tickets. Here's the airline you're using. Here's the flight number." You know what we call that? That's a problem, right? From a legal standpoint, that's a problem. When you buy tickets for somebody to transport them across state lines for the purpose of having intercourse, which, by the way, they make very clear what these tickets are for. But when you fly someone across state lines for the purpose of intercourse, even if everybody's into it, that's illegal. It is, right? That's it's a violation of the Mann Act. But the problem becomes this. Are they into it? Do you have the ability to say you're into it? Or is that not even an option, right? If you have been born into this, did you make a decision? If your mom was a prostitute for these people and then you just started, 19 or 20 doing the same thing, that's a choice? I don't think so. I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But you know who I think should decide it? Huh? People smarter than me, right? People who went to law school. But I'm covering a lot of stuff that smells a lot like this every single day, right? Watching lawsuits happen. So I'm going to do a couple of things to try to encourage people along the way, right? And one of those things that I'm going to do to try to encourage people is this. If you're hearing us and you're a prostitute that left the realm, the Survivors Act, right, out of the Southern District of New York will give you an opportunity to sue these people. For real. For what they did. Because you are victimized, whether you realize it or not. Do a little research on what human T is, and then take a run at them. Head to the Southern District of New York and get paid. These people have an awful lot of money. They didn't pay taxes on it. I would love to see it go back to the ladies who they've been taking advantage of. That's me personally. This is ugly. And the amounts of it that we have that are ugly, we're going to paint a picture of people that groom these people. You're going to see text messages that say things like, nice tits, she's got 2 kids, needs the money, like to work her a little bit more in the realm, right?
Are you showing those tonight?
No, we're laying that out tonight. I'm showing just enough tonight because we are using a professional who's going to make this stuff a lot bigger, that's going to clear this stuff up because as Reese said, she had to take some of these pictures. I can put them up right now. You're going to have a hard time reading them. When we're done, you will not.
And also when he edits those, I want to edit the girls' names out. I don't want their names in there.
Well, single names. And by the way, the first one I put up had that woman's name all the way at the top, and we removed that and took it down. Single names. We researched all this stuff. Tell you what, man, this is a funny thing too, right? It's a really funny thing. If this makes you uncomfortable, guys, maybe don't join sex cults that put your names, your addresses, your nicknames, and your wife's names and birthdays in a book. Because when those puppies get published, you're out of business. True story, right? This is what you have done, right? This is the hole that you've dug for 100 years, and it has continually gotten nastier and nastier. The truth of the matter is, when these guys first got off the ground, if you do the deep dive on it, they were risque, but they were risque by those time periods. So you might have seen a girl take her shirt off, and I'm not justifying that what they did was cool, but it was very similar to a strip club. It's not anymore. It just isn't. Right.
And I just want to say something, guys. I'm seeing some very supportive of my supportive people that my friends are in the chat worried. I'm totally okay. This is just a very serious subject, but I'm more than fine. I'm prepared. I can handle this. I knew we were going to do this. It doesn't really rock me anymore. It's unfortunate. It's uncomfortable. And honestly, I know you guys are all saying, Reese, are you okay? You look uncomfortable. I'm concerned about the people saying this is horrific and horrendous and makes me very uncomfortable. So I'm worried about you. You're being worried about me. It's okay. I'm okay. Thank you.
There are jesters in Canada too. There are a lot of jesters in Canada. You are well represented north of the border. And by the way, it's not different anywhere. By all accounts, this is the same club everywhere it goes. Fancy Face makes a great point. How can this not be uncomfortable? It is gross. It's absolutely gross. But over the course of the next 2 months, what we're going to put together, any idiot, I'm sorry, on planet Earth will watch this and say, how does this not fall under the Racketeering Influenced Corrupt Organizations Act, sometimes called RICO? If you have a business or an organization that is set up to break the law, if the purpose of the business is to break the law, right? And everybody in it helps facilitate that, then you're opening yourself up for some really wild crap. And we're not talking about stuff that took place decades ago. In fact, we just left one last weekend, right? There'll be another one this weekend. There'll be another one next weekend. There'll be another one the weekend after that. There will continue to be one every single weekend until they run into a brick wall. And that brick wall is going to be us.
I want you to read something. This is a business card. I'm not going to show his name and email and all of that.
Okay.
There's no need to. It's a business card. I want you to read what's on the back, babe. If you don't mind, you've got your readers on.
I do. It says, used cars, land, whiskey, manure, wild rice, fly swatters, racing forms, mercenary, professional soldier, wars fought, revolution started, governments run, uprisings quelled, bars emptied, virgins converted, computers verified, orgies organized, perversion taught, stud service. About 90% looked real. Sorry. That's ugly. But this is, you're going to see how each, and we're going to show this to you. We're going to lay this out as a case. And what you're going to find is we're going to show you evidence of this that goes back decades and decades. Nothing's changed. It's gotten worse. It has gotten progressively worse. And the attitudes have gotten progressively worse. Hurts, pain, inflicting Danes. A world of hurt. Do you see the size of the phallus on that guy? What kind of hurt do you think they're talking about? Huh? What kind of hurt do you think that these people are talking about when they put?
There's always an animal with it, and that really bothers me.
Up like that. You're going to see in a lot of the. I'm terribly sorry. But this is a recurring theme with these cats, right? It really is. There's a constant thing that goes on with animals, right? And they're always in pain. The stuff that I put up earlier, you can go back and look at. You're going to see them as we lay this out. But the amount of, can't say the B word, right? Now they're calling it zoophile. They're people who claim to love animals in a way that is unhealthy. Right? It starts with a B. That kind of imagery, there's more of that than anything, right? When you look at these buttons, the vast majority of them have an animal being R-worded. It's not, I mean, that may sound insane, right? But they make a point of showing the face of the animal that is being messed with a horrific, terrible look on their face. And it is disturbing that these people are comfortable putting these pins on and wearing them around. They collect them. When I was helping my girlfriend move, we were packing this stuff up. There were boxes this big full of these pins. It's like, they are so proud. Well, to an extent. We're also going to show you something else. The most vile and disgusting of all of these buttons, they make a second kind. They make one they can show the wife, right? They make one that doesn't have the animal getting, the business and all of this stuff. But they are playing games, and these games are about to come to an end because Reese, there you go. Lovely. The lynching. I assure you people, these are racist, worthless human beings. And you know something? They'll be the first people to stand up and tell you what fantastic members of society they are and how tight they are with God. I'll tell you something, that's a road I would really recommend people do not go down. That kind of hypocrisy. But anyway, Corey Pope says, thank you so much, by the way, Kathy. So disgusting and immature, like they are teen level shit. Well, they're proud of that. It says it in all of their, the poetry that they read talks about getting back to school boys again, right? All of it is to be able to do whatever the hell that they want to do.
What's he yanking on this thing's neck like that for?
Yeah, it's pretty standard that all of these images, and that's one of the nicer ones. Honestly, that's one of the nicer ones. Shelley, this is something that we will be able to explore. One of the arguments that I'm going to make, and we're going to lay it out in front of you, I promise. One of the arguments that we're going to make is that the amount of imagery that leans to the evil, leads to the satanic, is going to shock you. Yeah, once again.
We got
more
a horse
of the same.
or a donkey. Yeah. Shelley made a good point that we missed. She said, if your guy or someone you know is a Shriner and he's going to parties 5 days a month,
right,
he's probably a jester.
No question. So here's what here is what we contend. And we're going to spend the next month or so putting this out for you step by step. What we contend is this is a criminal organization. Sorry. There's what these people are in business to do is have sex with prostitutes, gamble illegally, and do drugs. By the way, they're also having sex with each other. And we'll give you a fairly decent amount of info that will at least lead you to believe that that is taking place, maybe not everywhere, but certainly in parts of the realm. Mirth is king, and sometimes queen. And you know what? I don't care your lifestyle. I really don't. But you're going to see a lot of this stuff. You probably saw one of the images that I put up on the thumbnail is a circle jerk. I'm not trying to be gross, but that there's nothing else you can call it. It's a group of these jester men taking care of themselves into a pot in the middle of the circle. This stuff. And you know what? Have fun. Go to a sex club with your wife or without your wife. Have an agreement. Do what you do. But to take these women from where they live and week after week after week, fly them to some place where you're going to dictate every single thing that happens to them for the entire time that they're there, right? How much money they make, you're going to complain, or you're going to alter how much they charge. These things sound way more like coercion than they do like a deal, right? The amount of money that they make is going to be figured out after the fact in a lot of these cases. How's that possible? How is that possible? By the way, Quibs, and I'm Fifi's broomsticks. Lovely.
Purple pea eater.
Yes. There's a lot of references to cats in that variety, right? A lot of these pins get used over and over and over again. Hey, Olivia, give me a break, would you please? Olive Juice, give me a break. You can call them whatever the hell you want. These are people who are going places, getting banged for cash. The cash may not be exactly what they agreed to. And Quibs will tell you, according to them, they expect these women to do about 20 people a day. 20 people a day. If you want me to believe that that's consensual, okay. I'm struggling with that. I don't believe that there are people out there that want to let 20 men lay on them, right? However, one of the things that these people do, and it takes place anytime something like this is happening, the grooming process is incredible. And the purpose of this grooming process is to convince these women that this is the greatest thing that ever happened to them. They hunt these people down with a specific model, and we're going to lay that out. We're going to show you texts that will tell you what they're looking for. And what they're looking for is someone that needs this. They need the money, right? And out of their mouth, am I wrong? These women, and I'm not saying this, I'm quoting it, are too stupid to make a living doing anything else. They wouldn't be able to run a checkout machine.
My ex-husband told me that when he said that I am the perfect candidate to be a jester prostitute in the realm. He said that to me, and he said, you have the perfect body and the perfect face. The guys would love you. But he said it would break your spirit mentally. There's no way you could do it because you'd have to take at least 20 men a day. And he also said, you have a trade, you know how to work. He said these women, a lot of them were born into it or they've been doing it for decades. And he said they're stupid. They don't know how to do anything else. It's all they know how to do is lay on their back. They couldn't even be cashiers. That's what he told me.
I'm also going to show you the way that these guys talk to these women. There are an awful lot of screenshots that Quibs was able to capture that were conversations that were taking place between the person whose job it was to procure the prostitutes or the sex workers or the victims or whatever you would like to call them. But they have a system. And tell me if you think that this sounds beautifully contrived. What if you were in business for 25 years as a jester and one guy got the chicks for all those years, right? They probably would get very good at it, but that's not how it works. They got to rotate through so that all of these people take a turn being the pimp. And it's an ugly word, right? But the selling of another human being, that's pandering, right? Pimping and pandering is what these guys do. So all of them take a turn as the director. Seamus. All of them take a turn as the director, meaning they're the ones that go get the women. They're the ones that do all of this. And they are targeting women who badly need this. And then they make it so that these women are so thankful. You're going to see screenshots of women that are thanking these people profusely, talking about them being a mother effing stud and thank you, you're a beast and this and that. Why? Well, because they got hooked up with 4 guys that are going to be using them over the course of a weekend. Thank you, right? The money will be good. At 20 people a day, I don't care what the money is. Do you think that this, honestly, give me hell and tell me I'm being mean to sex workers, right? I've known a bunch of people that did this for a living. I lived in Nevada. I used to go out to the houses and hang there because I supplied substances I shouldn't have to a lot of the women that work there. But I want to tell you something, 20 people a day? Good God. I mean, you hear stories from from women captured in World War II and forced into that kind of stuff. You don't hear of this in the free world with people who can make choices. And if you've got someone thinking that you helped them out, right? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, what, 60 guys? Or maybe the same 20? This is a hookup? You're helping these people? I'm a bad guy for calling this thing, unhealthy. No one's walking away from this feeling like they are a happy human being. Nobody, right, wants to do this. And they're taking all comers because they belong to the realm. These women are property. They're not allowed to work outside the realm. They can only sleep with these people. They have to go get tested because the men don't want to wear condoms. So these women are tested constantly by allegedly doctors of the realm. The men, nope, they're not. So you could come rolling in and infect however many women you wanted to touch because you know what? They're not people. You are. We got to protect the brothers, right? From these animals that we hire to. I'm sorry if it sounds cold. What the hell do you think they think? The girls wouldn't do this if there wasn't a demand. To be sure, they wouldn't. But these women aren't showing up for a job interview and going, hey, I understand. It doesn't work like that. They use the women that are already there to talk to people, and then they bring them in, and there's a whole process of grooming to find out whether or not they're going to be a good match. And you know what part of that grooming is, right? Well, you got to test the product. This is such, if this doesn't disturb you, it's okay. It is, right? That maybe I got soft in prison, but it disturbs the hell out of me. And when you figure out what they're making, so I'll show you a screenshot where he said, you made $5,000 over the weekend. Good for you. Start doing the math at what that comes out to. And they're not making nothing. They're making literally nothing to be on their back all day long being pawed by people that don't love them. And if that sounds too highfalutin, I'm sorry. It is disturbing, is it not? It's important to be educated in them, to be able to discern them. You know, you can make a decision to be a prostitute and go do it. I'll stand behind you. I hate prostitution because it's illegal, and that means that women do it in back alleys. And if a guy beats the piss out of her, or a guy says, I'm not paying you, or goes, you know what? I like doing this, right? And grits his teeth and becomes a scumbag, the woman can't call the cops. The woman can't ask for help because what she's doing is already illegal, and that's always been my beef. I don't care if prostitution's legal, right? You want this to be legal? Make it legal and protect the women. I don't care. This isn't what we're talking about. They don't choose their customers. They've been forced into this, and there's nowhere else to go, right? If the men of the realm, who, by the way, literally these women live because these guys are just so kind to them. So if these guys decide not to be kind with them, they can't make the rent. They can't eat. They can't do any of these things. That's not choice. It's not. In fact, if you read the statute on HT, when they talk about coercion, the coercion can be money, right? You go, well, no, that makes it consensual. No, it doesn't. If the deal is, if you don't do this, you're not going to be able to pay the rent or do anything else. They work with only them. Do you understand where this is a problem? If you don't see the difference in that, a person that decides to sell themselves can say, oh, no, I'm not doing it with you. Sorry, but you're creepy. I don't want, no, I'll wait for the next person. No, you won't. No, you won't. You're going to service the guys of the realm. You're taking all comers. And I'll be honest, like the physical thing or whatever, the vast majority of people who I saw in this are not in great shape, right? These are people in a lot of cases that are carrying a couple of 100 pounds more weight than they should. And the fact that they would then comment on a picture and go, yeah, she didn't really do much for me. Nothing to get excited about, right? She looks like she's been doing yoga for the last 6 years. And these obese, disgusting men are grading them like meat and going, nah, I'm not that impressed. Hey, it's women time. Let's start hunting. Unbody, huh? Pisses me off. It does. And yeah, exactly. And looking, if during the course of this video, you have wondered if my girlfriend is doing all right, it's because she endured this. These things that I'm talking about, right? These screenshots were her then husband talking to prostitutes, right? Arranging their travel transportation to the next city that they were going to, saying things as undisturbing as, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get you this weekend, but I'm sending 4 of my friends, take care of them. Have fun. There are pictures of 3 and 4 of these guys naked sitting on a couch waiting their turn. We can block stuff out on that and still show you the shots. This isn't healthy. And I'm not here to say sex work isn't healthy. I'm here to say this model is destroying humans, right? Their souls. This kind of servitude. It's not prostitution. It's not sex work. But this kind of servitude, when those people leave there, right? They're leaving a part of their soul every single time. Oh, we're going to, SJ. We're publishing them all. I promise you, they're all coming. We're rolling all of this out. Our biggest dilemma has been how we're going to try to get, there's a lot. There's probably 1,000, right, images. So we're going to pare this stuff down so that we build a case. So that when you're done watching everything that we've done, you can get to the end and go, yeah, I don't see it. Right? Doesn't seem that bad to me. Maybe you'll come to the conclusion after watching us put on a case, right, that this isn't prostitution. I don't bitch about prostitution. Whether you believe that or not, I don't. I lived in Nevada. I don't care. As long as the woman can't be victimized, she can do whatever she wants. If a woman wants $5,000 to have sex and a guy is willing to pay her, there's no victim in my opinion. Providing. There's a dude standing outside the door so that if this guy doesn't get an erection but wants to blame it on her and start beating the crap out of her, the 2 large bouncers will go in there and stomp him like a brush fire. That's what brothels are set up for, but not the realm. Reese, if it's not too painful, do you remember the story from your ex?
Which one?
One person did have an experience like that. Either he couldn't perform but he decided to be violent with one of the girls in the realm. Now, these are stand-up cats, right? I'm sure they called the police. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know specific intimate details of that story. I was told that story by my husband. He said that actually one of the prostitutes was one of his closest friends. And they were kind of an item for 4 years. He slept with about 50 prostitutes, but this was one of the main ones. And she got beat up badly by one of them. These guys are really heavy drinkers. And she was hired for a weekend. And my husband happened to be there that weekend, but she wasn't able to be with my husband because she was with somebody else. And he was a newer jester, and I guess this guy really beat her up badly. She didn't have to go to a hospital, but like punched her in the face. She had a black eye. She had a bloody lip, and they removed him. Apparently he was just drunk, but they removed him from the Jesters. He was just kicked out. She was taken care of. I'm sure they paid her a little extra. I'm not really sure what happened after that, but I asked him about it. I said, did the cops arrest him? And he said, well, obviously not. No, we just kicked him out.
Fine, upstanding man, right? This is pretty rugged, right? Honestly. I mean, there's your shot. Somebody beat up one of these girls who is, right, one of the Jesterettes. These are your girls, right? This is the love of all of your lives. You cheat, all of you cheat with the same women. And you're going to kick them out? Well, that's awfully kind of you. Good looking out. What you should have done was kill him, right? What you should have done was beat him until none of you could make a fist.
Well, that
would
also the guy
require a
should have gone to
man.
jail.
Of
He should have
course.
gone to jail.
Absolutely should have, right after he got his ass kicked. And the nice thing is, the guys in prison usually take care of that kind of stuff. But it requires a man, right, in that case to go, dude needs to get arrested. Oh, we can't do that, right? Can't do that. Because everything we do here is a felony. And there's not one of these dudes in the realm that doesn't understand that. Can't call the cops, right? The cops are going to say, how did this happen? Well, we run this sex club. Been doing it about 101 years. And one of our guys, normally they're real good dudes, but he just got a little drunk, decided to beat the crap out of a woman like she was a man. Get pissed. Where's the IRS, ATO, Global Task Force? It makes sense why American hasn't ratified certain UN articles. I'll tell you where they are. Here's this. Here's where they are. There you go. Here's where they are, right? The politicians and people who are out there doing this, Gerald Ford, right? These are people that rose all the way to the presidency. Yeah? Harry S. Truman. There you go. The president's court. This is not theory, right? We're not theorizing. Quibs, God bless her. God bless her. This is an entire case. It's got a bow on it. We know what credit cards were used to purchase the tickets to bring these girls to where they were going. We have the discussions back and forth between the two of them. We have discussions where these people are treated like crap. You'll read it and go, what? Yeah. Someone said, hey, I talked to a friend about getting in. And the jester comes down and goes, talk to one more person, right? Ever. And I'm going to say this, this, and this, and then you're gone, right? First, I'm going to trash you, then you're going to be gone.
Not only do we have the form of payment, but the obviously we have crossing state lines with these girls. We have proof of that. I took photos of their plane tickets that the Jesters bought for these girls to move them across state lines for different parties. So not only is this all tax-free, also speaking of taxes, most of these guys are entrepreneurs. They own their own companies, okay? So they put this on their company credit card and call it a networking trip with their taxes.
Yeah.
So not only is this stuff paid for through their company, I'm again, I was a Scientologist. I really know nothing coming out of a cult, but the word fraud comes to mind.
The word fraud does come to mind. So are there underage girls that these people hire? To the best of our knowledge, right? We're not going to smut people up for what they don't do. To the best of our knowledge, within the United States of America's borders, we haven't found any of that. And we don't even find people who allege it, right? There's not accused of that. That's not what they're being accused of.
I don't think so. And there's one other thing I want to comment about that. I don't think these girls are I don't think there's any underage girls. I'm sure it's happened. I mean, I could guess that it's probably
not in the US yet, but outside.
Well, sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's some jester that says, hey, I'm really into 18 and whatever, is close to that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Let's do a little allegedly, but I want to say that a couple people mentioned, how do these girls not get pregnant? So there are many jester doctors that I was told the girls have to be checked before they can come to every party by the jester doctor. And he gives them their papers. I was told they have to bring their papers and they're given a clean bill of health sexually to perform, because these guys don't use condoms. They don't want to use condoms. These are jester prostitutes only. They're not any other kind. So how do we prevent pregnancy? While I was thinking about this, a lot of these guys are much older, but a lot of these women are much older. I know a lot of these prostitutes. The one that we saw that's been a jester prostitute has been one for almost 4 decades. I mean, she's well into her 60s. So pregnancy, I think, is not a concern for her. A lot of these girls are in their 40s and 50s. A lot of them look like they're in their 70s. I mean, they are very weathered looking. They've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I thought about, if someone were to get pregnant, I don't know what that, and I have no idea. Okay. This is just me guessing. I don't know if that jester doctor performs
All right. I
Something
think that's
to keep.
probably occurred, to a lot of people. Most of them, and this has just been my experience, got nothing to do with Jesters. I just happen to have known a lot of people in that line of work. And all of them usually are taking multiple forms of precaution to try to make sure that pregnancies don't happen.
I'm sure.
Right? They're doing everything they can to make sure that happens. But if nothing else, right? We're thinkers. This is a group of people that aren't stupid. If nothing else, the fact that the women have to be tested and the men don't, the women aren't allowed to have relations outside the realm, but you got to keep testing them, right? Every single time, and not the men. That is abuse. If you don't see that, I apologize for your ignorance, but you got to tighten up your game, right? And as far as the underage thing goes, I don't know. You can tell me what you think. They look like they're 30 to you. Now, that's outside the U.S., but why do you think they're going fishing with a PH outside the United States? By their numbers, they said it's a very small number of people ever went on these fishing trips, maybe 1%. That's 1,000 people if you're just counting U.S. guys. That's a lot of people going on a trip, right? Especially if what you do when you get there is, hey, go round up a bunch of underage people. You're leaving the country for a reason, and I don't think it's fishing. I think that these people leave the country because they can do things of this nature. That's an opinion. That's an opinion, right? But we do know that there was a lot of really ugly stuff that has gone on these trips down below. It's just the way it is. Sorry, just reading something. And then the men go home to their wives. Absolutely, right? They go home to their families after leaving their loved ones, right? Anytime there is so much.
That's a quote from them, by the way, guys. Tony's not making that up.
Yeah, that's
when they
how
leave
every one
a
of these
party,
ends.
the party always says, time to leave your loved ones and go home to your families. And one of their, where's my book? One of their whole mantra crap that they say all the time is this:
I am a jester. What I see here, what I hear here shall stay here when I leave here. If half of the imagery, bless you, honey, if half of the imagery that you see has the three monkeys doing the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, that's odd, right? You would not believe the number of images you're going to see for that. And a lot of times they'll put a fourth one there. So you got one that can't hear, can't see, can't talk, and the fourth one's grabbing his genitals. Not sure what that is, but there's a lot of pins where there's a fourth one, and the fourth one is grabbing his junks. The wives, some wives, I believe, know. I think a lot of them don't. I think a lot of them believe that, you know what, these are Masons.
I've seen that firsthand. I've seen that firsthand. I couldn't give you a percentage. A lot of the wives know. The older wives, the wives that have been a jester wife for 20, 30 years, yes, they know. And the reason I know that, I've said this before, we went to a jester funeral and he passed away, and the widow came up to my husband and gave him a wink and said, thank God for the jesters. It kept him off of me for 30 years. So there are jester wives that know, and I think are okay with it. But there are so many, many jester wives that I met that I'm the only person I know in this whole gross cesspool that didn't drink. I don't drink. I've never drank before. But they would come up to me at parties with their drinks and they would go, aren't you just so proud to be a jester wife? Isn't it just so amazing that our husband, like, it was just, they are brainwashed. Absolutely. And my husband said it to me every day. Do you know how lucky you are to be married to a jester? Do you know what that means? Do you know what a big deal I am? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Culty Talk says, how many jesters are there? Allegedly 100K in the U.S. alone. 100,000 of these people in the U.S. alone. So they gaslight the women in the realm to believe that they are cared about. Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely, God, yeah. They do. But we joke about this sometimes when there's no one else around, right? They've been gaslighting women for 101 years, 102 years, because this is what it is. You gaslight the wives. Keep in mind, after my girlfriend found all of this, right? I mean, thousands of pieces of evidence. After everything has been found and she knows there are airline tickets, there's all of this. Then they go, this isn't happening. Do you hear yourself? You're insane. You're literally crazy. We've been around 100 years. If we were doing any of the things, none of this happens. What is the matter with you? You're crazy. This is what they do. And make no mistake, the girls who are women, who are prostitutes or sex workers or whatever within the realm, they're getting gaslit. It's just a different type of gaslighting. These, you'll hear them, and we have. We've even had recordings of some of them talking when they didn't know we were there. And you will hear them talk about, I can go to any city in the U.S. If I need my car worked on, or if I need a doctor or a dentist, or I need any help, I can plug into anybody in the realm and they're going to take care of me. Right?
Christy Hughes says, where did you find all the receipts? Christy Hughes, I spent 4 years keeping track of every possible thing I could. So every party I attended, guys, don't forget, let's not forget how it all started with Scientology. I used to wear an Apple Watch before I got with this guy. And he started gifting me watches that I couldn't not wear. I would hit record on those Apple Watches and just let it fly. So I took pictures. I would go through all kinds of emails, messages, phone, text messages. I didn't F around. I knew that I was being lied to. I knew I was being screwed. And I thought, well, while I'm here and while I'm being told I'm an idiot and I'm never going to amount to anything and I don't know what I'm talking about, I might as well collect as much evidence as possible. And honestly, one of the reasons I did that is because right away, straight away, when I said, I think I said something like, you'll never get away with this. Like, I know too much. He said to me, do you think you're the first wife that's found out about this in over 100 years? You think you're the first wife? Do you really think you're the first? Oh, that's cute. Do you want to be silenced? Because you will be. Do you want something to happen to you? Do you want to disappear? All those conversations took place. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to keep digging and gathering more, because if something actually happens to me, I was giving copies of it to a very close friend. Every single picture I took of every single day, I'd send it to my friend and say, if something happens to me, light it up, send this to the newspapers, send it to every news outlet you possibly can. It was terrifying. It was very scary. I even saw a therapist that said, stop doing this. Stop doing this. You are asking for something to happen to you. Stop needling these guys. Stop poking the bear. And I never stopped. So,
good for you.
Well, I still, now more than ever, what do we think? You think nothing's going to happen to me?
Not while I'm around. If they aren't claiming religious reasons, how do they have their tax exemption? Do they claim to do things for charity? So this is a gray area. And by the way, in one state they got it yanked. They did lose their tax free in one state. I do believe they've gotten it back. I was reading through all of that crap yesterday, but it has been challenged of late. Now, the way they get around with it is absolutely lying. That's how they get around it. So this book of the play that they do, which is allegedly a Shakespeare play, it is not. It is a play written about Shakespeare, but it is not a Shakespearean play. And the idea is that they are keeping history alive. There is a museum. That museum actually helps as part of this, but that museum is not on any national registry of museums. Its hours of operation aren't listed anywhere, right? Anywhere other than on Jester sites where these people, where you would have to be a Jester even to get in there. They are getting away with a loophole. That's what they're doing. They're getting away with a loophole. They're an educational organization, and they're hustling, right? And by the way, I'm not pissed at people that can hustle the government and not pay tax. I'm not. I'm a pretty open guy that way. I was a bank robber. I'm pretty laid back. However, why they're getting over on them? They're getting over on them so that they can victimize people. Everybody in this is a victim except these guys. Everybody else that is a part of this is victimized. The bartenders, the whatever you want to call them, right? The happy prostitutes, or the people who are being human teed, or the sex workers, or whatever makes you happy, right? They are lying, gaslighting, and victimizing everybody. The only people in here that aren't getting victimized are them. Once again, who gets tested? So if I'm a Jester, I could be going out and picking up any prostitute I want outside the realm all day, every day during the week. And then on the weekends, I'll head in there, right? By the way, in their literature, it states that every man also has to go in for an inspection, only it's not one of those kind of inspections. They want to make sure that they're okay to party, literally. I think they want to make sure there's not a recording device of any kind on them or anything else. I don't know why else they would be doing, but they're not testing for venereal diseases or anything like that. That's just the ladies. You know why? I'm sorry, because they're animals to enjoy, and the men are important. That's their loved ones. This is more about them than anything else. And that's why the grabassery and you'll see, we're going to put it out for you. There is so much out there that would lead you to believe that these guys grab each other's packages a lot. And I don't judge. You want to get down like that, knock yourself out, right? But the only love of these people's lives is each other. They don't care about their families, right? If somebody wrote that up and I read it and it said, hey, time to leave your loved ones so you can go back to your family, I'd march in there and go, what the hell is this? What are you, stupid? You disrespectful? But the women are animals. I'm sorry. It's how they're viewed. And I will build that case and I will show you all kinds of stuff that's going to prove it. The way they talk about them, the way they inspect them, they're animals, right? So that they can take advantage of these people sexually. That's it. That's it, right? And the proof is a girl's going to come down the stairs, walk across the floor of the casino with a guy. And 25 minutes later, she's going to walk back across the floor with a different guy to go upstairs and get it done again. You can try to convince me that these are happy people. I'm not buying it. And if $120 an hour is what they're making, you can tell me if you think that's great money to sleep with 20 people a day. It's up to you. I don't think so. I really don't think so, man. Correct. They are. Although, again, we saw some things change that really hurt this organization. I'm willing to stipulate that at one time it wasn't nearly this bad, right? However, you used to have to be a 33rd degree Mason or a 33rd degree Knights Templar in order to become a jester. Now, whether you believe those organizations are dog crap or whatever, one would think after rising through all of the ranks, they might have learned just a little bit of decorum, maybe act like men, even if they're not, right? Some respect for women, things like that. However, now you only have to get by the third rung until you can start going and partying with everybody else and do all of these things. So not true. Aaron, if you'd like to put a bet on that, I'd be more than happy to roll with you on it, because I'll show you in their literature where it said what year that stopped. I'm not quoting this or making it up. I took this directly out of Jester literature. And the reason was there just isn't anybody left to shop from, right? Even Freemasonry in our country is dying. People don't join. No, at one time they had to be 33rds to join up until 2009. Research it. I'm making it up. But no longer. And that's why this is such an aged population. When you look at these people, the vast majority of them prior to the 2008 debacle in New York, these people had matriculated through. Now they don't at all. In fact, here in the good old US of A, you can become, and this is again out of their research, this is me coming out of their literature. They're pissed because you can now join the shrine without being a Mason. Now, I'm not suggesting that if they all did it the old way, life would be good. But what I am suggesting is that as you continue to loosen rules and as you continue to change all of these things, right? When you start to lighten up, when you start to back off, when you start to allow people in that you normally didn't, it's not done for any other reason but desperation. People no longer are joining these operations. And for that reason, you kind of got to get a little bit more open with who you allow in. And maybe you get a guy that wasn't such a great choice. Maybe he slaps a chick around. But it's not vetted the way it used to be. This has gotten out of control.
I did not attend that festival, Purple Groovy. I've not heard of it before. She said, did you attend Feast of Fools Festival? No, never heard of it.
I haven't come across the Feast of Fools. Is that a jester?
I don't know. The only thing the Jesters do at every party on Saturday at like 1:13. No, it's 1:13 is the book. After the book, they have the feast, the royal feast. That's the only thing I know of that's called the feast of something, but it's called the royal feast.
There have been a grip of scandals with the Royal Order of Jesters. This has been going on a minute. The first one happened in 89. The second one happened in 08. And the one in 08 was in Buffalo, New York. And people were convicted. A judge, a prosecutor, and a cop. Okay? And the charge was human T. But nobody runs with the stories. Why? I don't know. Maybe the people that own the newspapers are Jesters. Or maybe they got a bunch of friends who are. Because for God's sakes, they're in everything else. Right? They're on city council. Right? Mayors. These are politicians. These are people who play the game and matriculate through and rise to power. Sadly, it's the truth. Gus Bilrakis, right? Still a congressman. Still a jester. That's a problem, right? It's a problem for me. Maybe not you guys. It's a problem for me. You're going to go in there and you're going to sit on a bench, right, as a judge, and you're going to sentence women to prison on the fourth time that they get charged for prostitution. You're going to give them a prison rip. However, you're paying prostitutes on weekends to hang out with you and your friends. Is that not really messed up?
Buffalo, New York. Yes, SJ, they have 197 jester courts. So that's page 70 of all the cities there. Page 71. And then we've got page 72. And they've got, I think, 5 jester courts in New York alone.
5 jester courts in New York alone.
I think there's 5 or 6 in Florida.
There are some states like Texas. I was looking through these, and the number of them in Texas is just incredible. But let's just call it 190. If $100,000 a piece came in from every single one of those annually, that would really be tough, right? If $100K a year came from every one of those courts that they didn't pay taxes on, that would be ugly, right? We're going to show you that. We're going to show you how much is coming into these courts because most of it is public knowledge. If you take the time, you can chase it down. So we're going to show you a couple of states don't allow this kind of stuff out. The vast majority of them will be able to show you. And there is tons and tons and tons of free money. Free money. And what do they do with the money? They pay for prostitutes. They buy alcohol. They do drugs. By the way, I did those things growing up, but I had to pay tax on my money. Right? They didn't let me take my money and party on it tax-free. That's messed up. Sorry. Is there such a thing as an ex-jester? It's a really great question.
So my husband got kicked out, of course, after all of this pesky mess. Once I started using my voice, it was kind of a problem after I had been threatened. And so he got kicked out. So there is such a thing as an ex-jester. If you Google it, you can find some random, anonymous jesters that will say, I was a jester for this long, or I made it through the initiation. I was given a hooker on my initiation and I quit. Or then there was a guy who was a jester for a while and said, going to a jester party is like walking into a whorehouse. Those were his words, not mine. That was a quote. Yep. So yes, there are a few, but they are anonymous. And I remember asking my husband about it. And he was like, it's very similar, guys. I came from Scientology. Scientologists will tell you, oh, you looked on Google, didn't you? None of that's true. Don't look at it. It's the same thing with the jesters. They would all say that to me. Oh, honey, don't look at that stuff. None of that's true. Those guys, that's made up. So, yes, the answer is yes. There are ex-jesters. They don't talk. Like my ex-husband is no longer a jester. He's not going to come out on YouTube and talk about it. He's probably hoping to God they're going to invite him back in.
I think that there's a decent chance they would have allowed him back in. Do these women know? And this is an excellent question. This really is an excellent question. Do these women know what they are walking into? Absolutely not. Right? And here's why. They're professionals. In 101 years of doing this, they've got it to a science. Every one of these people feel like they're being saved. They won the lottery, right? And as far as this is how it's presented to them. And we know for a fact that in some places they were recruiting through a judge. In other words, the judge would sentence the girl to probation and counseling or whatever instead of sending her to jail. And as she was leaving, someone would go up and say, you know why you didn't go to jail today? Judge wants to help you out. Wants to give you an opportunity to get out of this and start getting a decent life.
I don't want to go too far into one of our inside sources, babe. But if
Mhm.
you recall, one of them said to us, these girls almost feel like the guys. They all feel like they're in high positions of power. They feel almost godlike. Why? Because these girls can drive anywhere in the United States and call up any jester in any city, go stay at their house. They may be a doctor. Maybe one's a mechanic. He can fix their car. Maybe one got a drug charge, and the judge can get her off. A ton of jesters are judges. A ton of them are lawyers, and a whole bunch of them are cops. They tend to recruit that kind of, and politicians. So what did that inside source tell us? She can go anywhere at any time, and she's protected by the law. She's protected. She can, some of them own companies that can help her out in any possible way. So they all, I think the men feel that way too. And where does it say it?
Funny though, when one of them needed a bunch of people to come and save her, I didn't see anybody show up.
No, she got arrested, and they
Got
went
arrested
on.
and abandoned, and then they decided she couldn't work there anymore, man.
What else do they have? What else is required here? Prerequisites for membership, by my finger there. What is that again?
It says he must at all times be congenially welcome in the home of a fellow jester, even in their absence.
That's not gross.
Wouldn't happen with my girlfriend.
Thank you, hon. I was worried about it.
Yeah, no, I take you. I'd be salty about that. We're just not going to let that happen.
Great news.
There's no chance in hell that Diddy could have anything to do with this. This is the most racist organization on planet Earth. They will not invite a black person to be anywhere near the realm. There's not 1 in 100,000, right? These men are racist pigs. I think we're fairly safe that nobody in that part of the case is involved in this. All right, hard no. But doesn't mean that a lot of the other people involved in Human Tea may not be, because there's a lot of white folk doing it, I promise. They can't.
Great question.
They cannot.
They're coerced.
Yeah.
They're coerced. Do you know that these women, I was told anyway, these women have to sign NDAs, which doesn't make any sense because that's not going to hold up in a court of law if you're signing something like that. But they have to sign NDAs. I was threatened as a jester wife. Okay. Like I really was a nobody as far as the jesters go, and I was threatened. I cannot imagine what these girls probably go through.
This I think is worth pointing out. Pirate Cache says no, but they have Black Masons clubs. They very well may, right? This is once again an invite only that you start as with the Masons, and then you get into the shrine, and then there's an invite only for a very small group of people that they call off out of that. And without a doubt, and I don't believe they can consent, by the way, but they do not in any way, shape, or form have any black people in the Jesters. There is one non-white. I know his name. He's Asian. Not one black individual. I believe they may in the as Masons. They do not in the Jesters. The Jesters are racist pigs, and you can look. And we're going to relay that out for you. We showed you 3 offensive pins today, including the SWAT stick and the black face with the big lips and all of that stuff. Those are 3. There are so many more. Yeah, I mean we're not saying that this is, it might be a little offensive. There's your Swazi, right? Which is a little rugged in and of itself. And then this, if that doesn't offend you, right? This is not the kind of thing we do in this day and age. It's offensive. Unless you're a racist pig, right? Then it probably doesn't bother you in the slightest. So now, as far as getting the women,
did I show this in this feed, or was it my show? I can't remember because you came on to my show. This is a picture that we took in my ex-husband's office of a pocket watch.
Yes, I remember that. Toast the coon. Lovely. Lovely.
JOT is Jesters of Tennessee. This one must be.
Oh, Tennessee. Yeah, because there's a Jesters.
Yeah, because it says it right here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There's also Jesters of Texas, so I'm not sure how they figure that out.
Yes, I'm not arguing that please don't, people, do me a favor and make this easy on me, right? I'm not here to trash the Masons. I believe that they're not racist pigs. I believe all kinds of stuff. I'm here because we have a mountain of evidence on the Jesters, the Royal Order of Jesters. I will tell you, they do not allow any black people in. Fact, there aren't any. right? There's one Asian individual out of allegedly 100 grand, right? That's a lot. How do these societies like this still exist? Well, for the longest period of time, people couldn't do what we're doing right now, right? I might be able to talk to 6 or 7 friends and go, do you realize what's going on? And the vast majority of them are going to go, who cares, right? Honestly, that's between Reese and Earl Man or whatever. The internet, cell phones, things like this, that is the great leveling of the playing field, right? For real. We have an opportunity now to actually get something done. We have an opportunity to do what the people before us hadn't done. They scare women, right? If Reese had a lot less backbone when her degenerate ex-husband said, you think you're the only person to do this? You want to disappear? She would have gone, no, I don't. And I'm done. And I'm never going to bring this up again because I promise you that's happening tonight around. And videos like this are going to get more people having conversations and it's going to get more people threatened. Somebody said, why don't these women leave? In a lot of cases, right? In a lot of cases, it's because they set this up in such a way that makes it impossible. Sammy was not a jester. Sammy was a Mason. He was not a jester. I'm sorry, he wasn't. Yeah, but thank you. This has been the paradigm shift. Currently, right now in the United States, there are 3 open human tea cases going on that are massive, that the press is actually talking about, right? 3 massive ones. When we did this in July, I could roll out the emails. We had 45% support and 55% the people who went, yeah, who cares? Honestly, who cares? We're in a very different time right now. There are absolutely links to the KKK. There are absolutely links to the KKK and and a lot of similarities. We're going to roll all that out. I promise you, this is cut and dry stuff, and we've got evidence to back it all up. These people, whether they're dangerous or not, I couldn't answer the question. Don't scare me much. However, they do scare their wives. Classy, right? Upstanding members of society, right? Yeah. How you doing?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm uncomfortable. This makes me uncomfortable. It takes me back. I mean, of course it's gonna do that, right? I'm not I'm not I don't know. I'm of the mindset like if something actually happens to me, then at least I exposed this, right? But I mean, it does make me think about it wasn't just my ex-husband. One of them, well, you saw him a few days ago. We were in Vegas and one of them threatened me to the point he said, he did that. Yeah, he pretended to yeah, and he threatened me a couple years ago and he kicked me out of all Jester functions. He said I wasn't allowed to go anywhere near them. He said I wasn't allowed to be around any of the wives because what happened is I went to a Christmas party. He showed you that's what he was talking about on the text in the very beginning of this, that I said too much. And they went back on cameras at this party, at this place where they had it to see what wife I talked to, how many wives I talked to. And I got kicked out. And, I mean, even then he said, you're not allowed to ever come around here again. You're not allowed to ever talk about this. Don't ever open your mouth. And I sent the guy a text and I doubled down and I'm mad at myself for doing that. I'm mad at myself a little bit now. I feel like I don't know. I sent that guy a text and I just said, I am not a part of your sleazebag fucking group. And you are not going to, excuse my language. You are not going to tell me where I'm allowed to go. You're not going to tell me, you know, what I'm allowed to do. It was very specific what he said I'm going to be doing and not doing in the rest of my life. And I said, then come get it because I'm not doing that. So it's the same thing now. I mean, I hope nothing happens to me. Let's put it that way. I hope nothing, you know.
It's probably a good time to it's probably a good time to announce anyway. You guys, the last time we did a show, Quib said, do me a favor and put a 1 up if you want the two of us to do a show on New Year's. And everybody put up a 1. So don't worry, I'm on my way to see Reese anyway. I'll be in Bug Tussle shortly. So we heading back there with my girl. So take a hey, Rampage, good to see you. Take a deep breath. I promise you, people, I'm going to be standing right there. So I'm fond of Reese. Promise.
And I love that, babe. I appreciate that. It's just this runs deep. This runs deep. This cult runs. It's funny because coming from Scientology, it's just a different style of cult. And I have said many, many times, I would rather be in Scientology. I felt much safer there. This is dark territory. I said it the other day, and I'm not a biblical person. I've never read the Bible, but I feel like it's demonic. There's something about this that feels possessed, demon-like.
SJ, thank you. I'll be there, I promise.
Let's be honest, guys. So these are guys in positions of power, right? Big positions of power who don't want their names out there. How far will they take this?
On the bright side. Furry coats for the win. Thank you, Kim is Blue. Let me just hit this one real quick. How do we reclaim, redefine, cleanse the image we grew up with that we're innocent, the wise decision, raccoons, mad, purple people eater? It's like Twilight Zone. We can claim this back. We can. Don't get it messed up. Innocence isn't dead. We let it go away, right? We live in a world that's crappy because we allowed it to happen. Sorry, that's the truth. We put up with it. We heard stories of people out of Hollywood and we went, who cares? It's Hollywood. We heard stories of somebody cheating on their wife and we said, who cares? Not my wife. Right? Got nothing to do with me. What do we care what they're doing at the lodge hall on Friday nights? Got nothing to do with me. Guess what? It does have something to do with you. It does. Right? You're either doing the right thing or you're not. And sadly, we just made you aware of this. So the time comes now that you kind of have to. Harry, thank you. It may come as a real shock to you guys, but anyway. I'm probably a guy you wouldn't want pissed off at you if you really want to know the truth. And I'm not going to let anything happen to Reese. Take a deep freaking breath. I promise you I wouldn't be the one.
Babe,
promise you.
I
understand what they're saying.
Okay. I don't think anything's going to happen because I feel protected by the light. Disinfectant is the best sunlight here. So reverse that, but you know what I meant.
Yes,
so I don't, I just don't, I don't think anything's going to happen. I hope that these guys continue to get exposed, and I hope they are embarrassed, and I hope that their wives leave them.
Oh, if you're embarrassed, your life's about to get crappy because all we did today was tell you what's coming, right? If you think this was embarrassing, you need to buckle up, Buttercup, because it's about to get ugly. And we have an awful lot of friends in an awful lot of places. Unlike, right, the BS that they put out there, we really do have a lot of friends, and they're amazing human beings. The beautiful thing about this is they know what's up. What are they going to do? Go and harass you? I got everything you got, right? I got 4 other people that got everything you got. Doesn't do a whole lot of good.
Oh, I have an attorney that has all of this.
Everybody.
I've protected myself in every possible way that I possibly could. That's what I'm saying. If something were to happen to me and I were to be somehow dead, I know that this story would go on and it's too late. It's too late. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And honestly, I ain't trying to sound like Billy Badass, but I'm not too afraid of any of this. I'm not. I'm not. So I'm going to be there.
No, you're not.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there right next to her, and we'll be doing content. You'll see us. There'll be no line between us. See this thing? Right? Be gone. So reach out and grab her. They will plan for us next time. Well, you know, it's getting a little harder to plan for us next time because guess what? We're going to start telling everybody here where they can go to party with the Jesters. Right? So it won't just be us. It'll be people like you that they've never seen walking around with phones and making their life miserable. Doesn't take much. I promise. They get real weird when they find out you're staring at them. Ask Quibs. Wharton, God had the same effect on me. Thank you, brother. But yeah, we're light is the greatest disinfectant. Make no mistake. And we're going to keep shining a light on this. We are. This is a story that needs to be told. And it's amazing because Last time we did this, I told you guys about a documentary that I was proud of. I thought these people did a hell of a job on this documentary. But he starts the documentary by saying, you know why I'm doing this? Because these guys got busted in 1989 and no one did anything about it. And they got busted in 2008. And I thought, surely someone's going to do something about this. Well, everybody sits around and goes, I wonder if anyone will do anything about this. We all need to do something about this. We do. We're about to hit 2025, right? About to hit 2025. Do you want to be, right? Is this the year that we're going to allow this shit to continue to happen? Or is this the year that we say, you know what? I'm going to be the voice for the people that don't have a voice, or the people too stupid to use their voice. I'm sorry. But if you're a second or third generation prostitute, you didn't get a shot. There wasn't a shot, right? So people are going to need to do something to help, whether they want to be helped or not. This can't continue to go on. And if that pisses people off, you can send me an email, right? Johnny Scoville at gmail.com. Attention to Johnny. Yeah, sorry.
That's funny.
Good for you, Warden. I was not so lucky. Don Gibbs, good to see you. Sorry I'm late. We'll have to rewatch. First part, Sweet Girl. I'm an hour away. Be there. That's the spirit. I love our crew.
Thank you, Don.
Some Swan Boat rentals. If you're new to this, last year we had people come to rally. This we talked about this last year. We didn't roll out any of the evidence. We were very calculated, and then the environment changed. And I think as a society, we're all ready to be the ice cube, right? That sinks every one of these shitty ships, right? I was doing a show and someone said, "Yeah, what iceberg are they going to hit?" This iceberg, right? For real. If it's going to happen, it's going to be because of all of us. It is just the way it's going to be. You can all just sit and go, it was a video. I'll share it. I'll hit thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share it with every single person. No, push this. You have the opportunity to help, right? By the way, we're going to bum out these people. We're going to tell everybody where their parties are. We might not get to all of them, but a lot of you are going to get to them. We're going to tell you where they are. We're going to let people go and have a lot of fun. If you're not doing anything wrong, if this is just merriment, you shouldn't have any problem with the crew at a boat or Relatable Reese stopping by just to say hi, right? Maybe we'll get you some t-shirts. Reese says, what's up? Wouldn't that be a good one? Huh? Reese says, what's up? Oh, you know something? He would. He would show up. I promise you he would. And I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end. I love you, Casper. Good man. Yeah, ride or die. I like it. And we've picked a good crew. We have. She's not alone. In fact, she's the only lady in the team. The rest of the team is assembled to make sure that nothing happens to the lady. I promise. Drone harassment is about to ensue. Cassius, I like what you're doing here. Well played. I like this. That's right. These secret organizations need to be exposed. Let me tell you something that if you're from the United States of America, you may not know. Senator Bill Rackus, right? Congressman Bill Rackus had to take a vow, right? And one of the things that they ask you when you are becoming a member of the House of Representatives or the Senate, they say, have you ever swore an allegiance to anyone else? They say no. I assure you, when you join the Jesters, you swear an allegiance to them. So if you're a politician and you're hearing this, maybe it's time to quit, right? Maybe we won't get around to trashing you. You got time. Haul ass before we get there.
Don, that is really sweet. And he is going to take me out. I already asked him to take me on a date.
Thank you. And you know what? Also, straight up, thank you. Thank you, Shadow Woman. When last week when I said, hey, if you guys want to see me, a lot of you reached out and said, hey, here's some cash. Do what you can. Get a ticket. I appreciate you guys always stepping up. I really do. I appreciate you guys always stepping up.
That was really nice.
Yeah, it really was. And I didn't have to sell a kidney, which was cool. You know, it was kind of short notice, but
it was getting iffy. I wasn't sure.
It was getting iffy. It was getting a little iffy. But this is the greatest audience on YouTube. And it may be the greatest audience on the big red button. And you guys care about my girl as much as I do. And I love that. In fact, you let me know, right? You know what it's like? It's like Reese has 20,150 older sisters and brothers. Good God, man. You don't want to get in a fight with Reese. It's awful. I love Reese. And I intend to spend the rest of my time here making it really uncomfortable for people who make her unhappy. That's my gig. Take a deep breath, everybody. I promise I ain't going anywhere. Reese, can your attorney get the casino cam where the coward threatens you with the gun gesture? Probably not. The Nevada Gaming Commission, who run all of those things, are probably the ugliest group of people that you'd ever want to deal with. For real. It's a joke in prison that you want to get arrested by the feds because if the Gaming Commission gets you, they'll probably just kill you instead of arrest you.
I wondered if we could get that footage. And by the way, Jules Awake, thank you. And guys, thank you for saying that. That's really kind of you. I wondered if we could get that footage.
It would be really hard. They don't like playing games at all with anybody. However, bless you.
Sorry.
It's so funny because you were doing the Reese sneeze and I didn't catch it. All I saw was this part of it. And I was like, the hell did I do to upset this? You wave off your sneezes. It's one of the funniest things ever, man.
No, I don't.
You know I didn't. Yes, you did. You always did. It's funny. It's funny. Reese, it's the ice cube.
Renee B. Oh, Danette McClure, thank you. This is my favorite watch. Well, Tommy gave me a watch last week that's gave this one a run for its money. I love it, but this is probably my favorite watch from Tommy. Thank you for noticing.
You said the same thing on a watch I gave you yesterday.
Stop it.
Every time I give you a watch.
Shut it. I don't want to hear it.
Are there any hookers of color? That's an excellent question. As of this moment, I have not found any. That does not mean that there are not. I just so far, all of the people that we have come across, I shouldn't say that. There had been, there was a couple.
I don't think there are.
Wasn't there? I don't have a, we'll look through the pictures. I shouldn't answer that. I shouldn't answer.
No, I don't think there are. I think these guys are pretty racist. I don't think there are any hookers of color. No.
I feel really weird telling the jokes. It's going to be hard for me because of Q. But what I will tell you is this. In 2009, the transcript from their annual party got leaked out. And the jokes that were told at this, they're off color. They're the kind of jokes that, I mean, they're not all racist. They're the kind of jokes that they're dirty jokes, right? And they tend to be foul. But here, I'll give you the first one because it's the least offensive of all of them. A first grade teacher in Detroit, Michigan elementary school asked her students if they could tell the class what sound a pigs make. Little Tyrone raises his hand and says, "Up against the wall, mother effers." Of course, he says it out. The name Tyrone, the reference to black people in crime, they get progressively more disgusting. But that's the icebreaker joke to a room full of white racist pigs. Thank you, Snake. God bless you. I really appreciate you.
I love you, Ken. Thank you.
And Lori Marie says, thank you both for going after this evil cult. I will definitely pay them a visit when the party is in Pennsylvania. Well, they'll be there. I promise they're coming. Yeah, it's this is it. This is it. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to die. Everybody listening to me. And 101 years from now, people on whatever devices we're using to hang out virtually will be saying, "What the hell has this gone on 204 years?" Right? This is the best shot anyone's ever had for doing damage to these punks. Why? Because my girlfriend's badder than your girlfriend. My girlfriend's tougher than yours. And thank God. But Quib's backbone and probably the fact that she survived one ugly, shitty cult first put her in a position to do things that I don't know that a lot of other people would have done. A lot of courage.
I don't see that. I don't feel like this is bad at all. I don't know.
You know what? I rolled into town when you were living with that jack off and you had filed for divorce. So I know what it looked like. And maybe you didn't see it that way, but I watched it. And it was the hardest period of time in my life. And I spent 13 years in a mother-loving federal prison. And nothing was ever harder than watching the way that dude treated you. The fact that he's still walking around is an act of God. I promise you. it was really, really difficult time to get through. Yeah, my girlfriend is a badass. Make no mistake.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. You know why Scientology wasn't this bad? Because Reese had some form of control. May have been very little, right? But the second cult that she was in, she was lied to about being in a cult. This was just a couple of guys getting together on the weekends. You're crazy. Do you hear yourself? We go out and we do bird shoots. Do they like men? They do. There are a lot of pins and a lot of t-shirts that would lead you to believe that at least in some of these courts, there's a whole lot of circle jerking going on and a lot of guys grabbing their own junk and other people's as well. And you know what? It doesn't bother me. It doesn't. The part that bothers me is you're doing it tax-free. You're going around and that you are putting out a product. You are telling people, God, Yadira, you're putting out things that are absolute BS, right? You're lying to the entire world. You guys are out of control, man. Yeah, this is one of those situations where we're going to step up right now. Or 20 years from now, we're going to be asking how they stayed alive 125 years, right? Yeah, Justine, obviously it bummed me out too, right? I got in a car and headed on out there. Well, I got in a plane and headed on out there.
You got in a plane, babe.
I did get in a plane. But when she told me that she was nervous, how long did it take me to get there? I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to leave you hanging this time either. I promise.
It was quick. Yeah, it was quick. I was getting fairly nervous.
Absolutely. To the best that I have been able to chase it down, she sure can. The way that they do this, they're professionals. I started to say this earlier, but I squirrel so bad it's my defining characteristic, right? But the way that they do this, the first time the girl gets invited, she's love bombed. He shows up, and every woman and every guy goes, "Oh my God, you're the most beautiful girl that they've ever had come through there." And there's going to be very little. She's not going to be forced to do anything. They're going to paw the hell out of her. They're going to give her an introduction, and there are going to be people pawing at her, so to speak. But she's not going to have to really put out, so to speak. She's never going to have to get that far, and she's going to leave with a lot of money. And there's a process, and the story has come back to us multiple times from multiple people, how they do this. And the fact that whether it's Boston or whether it's Florida or whether it's Texas, the way they do this is the same. What this means is this is absolutely engineered. They are professionals about cutting people off from the herd and going, this is a victim. This is a victim, right? We're saving these people or any such shit. This is a victim. This is a person we can victimize. This is a person we can tell they're going to make this much money, not pay them that. We can fly them out when we want, tell them, no, you're not going to this person's wedding. We're in the realm this week. These people don't have a life. You can BS yourself into believing that they do, but they don't. How does being evil make you a pro? Goddess Divine, forgive me if that offends you. What I'm saying is they're professionals. This isn't a jackass or operation. Over the course of 102 years, they got good. They got good at making this work. And every single one of these victims goes through the exact same thing, right? You could be a scumbag and be professional. I was a professional criminal for decades.
I was a professional Scientologist.
Just means that you take it really seriously, right? It's a business-like attitude. What they've done is polished this into a craft to ensure that they know exactly what to do. There's nothing haphazard. This is step 1, step 2, step 3, right? It is sick that the ladies have husbands and families at home, Mary Kay saleswomen. Yeah, that is definitely one of the things that these people claim. There are women who say, no, we're Mary Kay salespeople.
I was told the prostitutes, most of them are married. I mean, some of these girls have younger kids. I know this too to be true, but I was told they are married and the husbands don't know what they do. They don't know anything about the Jesters. They tell their husbands they are Mary Kay sales reps, and that's why they travel so much and that's why they make so much money. Yeah,
well, and it makes sense, right? It's still the same kind of control. They're always talking about MLMs or whatever, but fourth monkey is do no evil. How ironic. Yeah. Well, the Do No Evil one in all of their imagery is always grabbing his junk. Not exactly sure why, but they've always got their hands on their Johnson. Oh, and that's a word that comes up a lot. They really like the phrase Johnson. Gibson Murphy, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to all. I love that.
Absolutely. The women
right.
are groomed from the beginning. I don't honestly know how easy, Tommy, you don't either. I don't know how easy it is for these women to walk away. They do have to sign NDAs, and I don't know if they're like threatened within their lives. It probably depends on what they've done. Imagine in how many years this has been around, a century, how many of them walked away pissed? How many of them got screwed? I don't know if they've been threatened. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it at these people are very good at what they do. There's nothing haphazard about this. This is one of those things that these people have been doing this for so long. It's not accidental. They're professionals. They are absolute professionals. Mm-hmm. Sadly, I mean, not in a good way, but this is a routine. This is something that they've done, and they've done well, and they've done it for so long. That sadly they've got it polished into something that is really, really solid as far as being a machine to get people away, just like every other control group or cult. They cut them off from the group. They separate them. They change the language. They do all of these different things. It's sad. It really is. It's sad.
I think you should show those text messages one more time, because there was not as many people in there. And, honestly, I didn't know you were going to do that, but I found it. I haven't seen those in forever. I forgot I had sent them to you. I found it very validating, because there are, I think, people out there saying I'm making this up or what have you. Take down that comment though, please.
God help us. How did that just happen? There we go. Did you register for the late party? No, somebody did. My first somebody registered an even early night Wednesday. Not me though. Would Reese do it? Right? I don't know how. What email address? I don't know. I'll ask. From Brad. We didn't give his last name. Take a deep breath. But you want to? Let's do it. No, I'm kidding. I had several people tell me that you're registered and are attending. I have no clue what. I can't read the last of that. Let's see, because it should be up here. It's Jason who's freaking out. I think he knows he told Reese too much. Now, if you remember, Reese came and said, hey, this guy told me this, this, and this. Well, then he rolled out and said, I never talked to her about anything. Well, here's the truth, right? He sure did. Stuff I didn't even know. We hadn't had a chance to discuss the night at Starlight. I called him out again. He's changed his tune from what he told me about the ladies' Christmas party. Everybody paying attention? They were told one thing. Now he's changed his tune, and the new tune is.
And the ladies' Christmas party is where I got kicked out and where they had to go back and check the cameras because I talked to too many wives.
Correct. He's admitting he screwed up now? No, the opposite. He's saying he didn't say a thing to her. Now they're laughing at this guy for the record. Even they know that's BS, right? They're laughing, LOL. You heard what she said, and some of the stuff I really didn't know. What do we need to talk to somebody? This is indicative.
Look at that last sentence. He is scared for certain.
Oh, yeah. No, Quibs has definitely scared the crap out of everybody. By the way, when it comes to text messages back and forth with people who validate everything that Quibs has said, it's about 50 of them, give or take, about 50. And we're going to roll them out, one right after the other. What is really going to be happening is this is being, yes, he did try to blame it all on Fred. We're going to be putting this together in a package that all of you will be able to share with everybody. What we're doing right now is telling you what's coming. It's going to be done in a video form, which is not something we usually do, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And the reason we're doing it that way is because this isn't about views this time. You may not believe that, but this one isn't. This one is about giving people the opportunity to take this down and help us to do so. Thank you, Tony Suter. Love Tony Suter.
Love you, Tony Suter.
Kay says, thank you for bringing this info to the forefront where it needs to be. I can see a possible book in the future, along with TV talk shows. Great work. Reese will definitely have a book in her future. I believe wholeheartedly that she can do that. We've been talking about it, and I think she wants to. So it's coming. I think. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I would like to, if it's a possibility. Thank you, Tammy. I think you should read Bo Beats and then Gary Meek under that too.
Okay. Thank you again. With so many of them being judges and cops, aren't you afraid of being set up, Tommy? No, I am not. No, I am not. And I'll tell you why. The beautiful thing about doing everything right is if you were to try to set me up, the only thing they could do it for would be drugs, right? And you can go underneath my armpit, grab a little arm hair, and go test that back 6 years. I don't screw up anymore. I am a solid ass member of society, and I do not do things that break the law. I know people have had a good time suggesting I've done X, Y, or Z. Funny though, right? Never been in any trouble. Since I got out of prison, people, I have lived a life that I got nothing to worry about. Do good and fear not. My father said that to me all the time, and I didn't understand it until it was almost too late. But if you do the right thing, you can call it whatever you want, the universe, but you stay in the right mindset, and that which makes everything perfect, I call it God. You can call it whatever you want. We'll make sure that this thing goes. I promise. And as far as Reese's safety goes, if Reese gets a bruise, there won't be a Jester alive by the end of the weekend. I promise. I will go on a buck wild streak. Let's take a deep breath. Question: could they fall under RICO? Yeah, they could. Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organizations Act, right? Is this group organized, put together for a criminal reason, right? Look at all of the pins that we're going to show you that have the word John in it. Even if the person who's happens to be getting the pin, because each year there's a new guy who's handling the hookers and he makes the new pins and does all of that. John comes up a lot. The Johns. You know what a John is, right? A John is someone that hires a prostitute. That's what a John is. This was put together for the purpose of prostitution. Number one. Now, since then, it's also become a gambling deal. High stakes poker at every single one of these groups. That's a problem, right? Gambling is legal in 2 states. Well, what they're doing is illegal, which means they have set up an organization for the purpose of doing what? The rackets, prostitution, drugs, illegal gambling. Those are the rackets. That's what rackets are, right? So what these people are doing, I don't know how you can't call this RICO, right? How do you not look at it that way? They were put together for the purpose of committing crimes. Well, that's what this is designed to do. And it's designed so that you can charge all of them with the same crime. So let's say that what we figure out is that there are some women in this that have actually been trafficked. You can charge all 100,000 of these cats with it.
Are you okay?
Is he? Shut this puppy down and go deal with him. Quibs,
he's putting the recycling outside. He was making a lot of noise and I didn't know what it was.
Okay, just being Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I admire you both. Thank you, Diane. What a kind thing to say.
Yeah,
well, you'll get us for New Year, though. We're not done. We'll be live on New Year. They are transporting across state lines. Absolutely, they are, and that is called a violation of the Mann Act. But if you want to keep it really, really real, right? Because we don't BS. The Mann Act was put together to arrest Black people who dated white girls. It's not a law that gets prosecuted a whole lot. It really isn't. It's kind of a silly law, but it can be prosecuted. It used to just be a way to get guys who dated white girls. Sadly, that's the truth. However, after that, right, the laws start getting uglier. The human T and all of those things start to get a whole lot uglier. The transportation of somebody across state lines for the purpose of prostitution is a felony. Diddy just got charged with it.
What do you mean doing after this?
She's going to be with me. What do you mean? What is she doing after this?
I don't know. What do you mean after this show? After this year? What do you mean, Christy? You're scaring me.
Yeah, we'll be getting together, I promise.
I think Tammy, we have big plans
a lot of people. Sorry, I was telling Tammy. Chuck Berry got charged with the Mann Act. Boxers have a lot of Black people got charged with the Mann Act.
I think Tommy and I and even individually, I think we have big plans for 2025. I would like to. I've only had my channel a year and a half, and I want to do big things with it. I want to continue. I mean, I never want to change how I started my channel, but I think this is going to be big. I'm ready to take that step forward with the Jesters. We kind of dabbled and tiptoed a little bit with it. And I think it's time to I just feel like with everything I have, it would be a shame not to put it out there. And like Tommy has said many times, you shouldn't have put your name all over it if you didn't, it's one of those things. I mean, even as a YouTuber, guys, even as, and I say this all the time, I'm a nobody. Nobody knows who I am. I'm not anybody. But even to this day, I'm so much more careful. I have attorneys and I send text messages. Every time I send a text, I think, am I okay with the world reading this? Because you kind of have to be. You have to be a step ahead of the game because so many people make so many crazy accusations and things like that. You have to be able to prove stuff these days, and I have the receipts for what I've got. So I'm very careful about that. And these guys were not careful. So you kind of get what you get. A spa day. I have never had a spa day in my life, Christy and Anise. That would be amazing. One day I will afford that. I think a spa day is incredibly expensive, but I'm going to do it sometime. That would be amazing.
Well, you got some back rubs coming anyway. I give a really good back.
Oh,
big hands.
yes, you do. What about the feet?
Your feet or mine?
You know what that's about.
Anyway, you have great feet. I went online to the IRS website to look at the tax returns. Only looked at a couple of the organizations. They do indeed show that their only expense is meeting expense. I was shocked. No other expense, none. And there is so much, like they'll say incidental money raised. I don't know how that exactly works, but do you think they are afraid of you exposing them? I don't know if I can answer that question.
Yes, I can. Yes.
They should.
Yes, I don't think they would have threatened my life if they weren't afraid of me exposing them. Yes.
Bill, in my defense, I just got here, but I promise I'm gonna take care of it because you're right. But yeah, I do give her a lot of back rubs though. Yeah.
A lot? I don't know.
What?
I actually think I give you more back rubs. I love giving you back rubs. You know this. And your head. I love taking your bald head and rubbing
your head. She does
your
actually work my
I do
head
that a lot.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yes. Now this is worthy of saying. Honestly, this is worthy of saying. We do need to get a room. The number of dead person switch, whatever you want to call it, around that. This is set up to the point where if they took out me, her, and everybody else that we know, they're still screwed. That's it.
Is that what that means? What does that mean? That's your own.
A dead man's switch. A dead person's switch back in the day was you would hold it. If there's a spring on it, you hold it shut. So if they were to shoot you or anything, nature would just let go of it, and that detonates an explosive. It was a way that people used to exit a building, guaranteed that no one's going to shoot them, because if somebody shoots them, even in their dying, that's going to end up with a big bang. Nothing like that ever happens anymore. But the term dead person switch means that you've got something set up, like an attorney or a news station or YouTubers or all the above, like we do. But it's a backup plan in case something happens to all of us. You are the switch.
Absolutely. A dead bumblebee still has a stinger.
That's right. Nice. There's a lot of information, and we've got it in the hands of a lot of people. And we've got it in the hands of some stone cold beasts too. There's some people here that are taking this really seriously. I am very happy that Johnny Scoville is as fired up about this as I am. I am very happy to have Casper working on me with this. And I kid you not, I'm no joke whatsoever. I'd take that threesome right there through any door in North America. I would. That's a bad group of three people. Be really honest, it's a tough group of three people. I would be very, very, I feel very confident that we've got a team put together that's going to be able to get all of this out, and it's going to keep everybody in really good shape during that process, I promise.
No question. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not either.
That's what I'm saying. If something were to happen to me, I mean, that would be a real bummer. I wouldn't want that to happen. I have a child, but you're not going to accomplish anything by doing that.
Oh, I'd be salty. And here's the thing. They have successfully intimidated people for 100 years. How many wives like Reese do you think opened a email, answered? Well, we know for a fact there's a person out there and their story is all over the internet. But this is a woman whose husband was a Mason and he's a jester in good standing and everything was gravy. And one day she picked up the phone because the phone rang And the person on the other end said, "Hey, I'm at the airport. Is someone coming to pick me up to take me to this party or what?"
That's right.
And the wife went, "Huh?
It was
Who
a
is this?"
prostitute coming to a party. My husband did that. He was in charge of picking up all the girls one year.
Well, we have
I
all
was
of
so
those
excited
emails.
about that. It was very supportive.
Yes. Yes, I have brought this to Sean Atwood's attention. This will be on the Sean Atwood program. I promise. So one of many large channels that this will be going on. Boring women rarely make history. I love that. It's a pretty good one, isn't it? That's a good one.
Shelley's good.
I'm a fan. Yeah, you know what? Pirate Cash, don't be a shithead, or I'm going to get rid of you, and then I never have to see you again. If you talk poorly about my friends in this chat, I kill you. You're gone. That's your last shot. Johnny, Tommy, and Casper, find a fourth, and you'll be the four horsemen. She is the fourth. That's that's our fourth right there. I promise. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, you know what? I don't. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I'm a convict. Shit on my friends and see what I do to you. Right? Friendship means something different to me than it means to the rest of you. I'm sorry. That's it.
Also, guys, it's just, I also have a YouTube channel for those of you that don't know, and it's a strict rule. We don't talk about other content creators. It's not cool.
At all.
You don't do that. It's trash. It's trash to do that.
Yep. This is a great comment. Just a Northern Girl says, the Jesters, not unlike Lafayette and Ron Hubbard, never counted on the power of the internet and YouTube. This, right? This thing is worth 500 AK-47s. This is more dangerous than any weapon they've ever made, and you all got one, right? If every one of you just said, you know what? I'm sending this story to 15 people. You got 100 people in your contacts. If everybody said, I'm sending this to 15 people, you got any idea where we'd be? This doesn't take a lot. It just takes a bunch of pissed off people. That's all it takes is a bunch of pissed off people. And I got 3 or 4 of them, man. All right.
Yeah.
It takes a spark of insanity to implement real cultural change, is my paraphrased favorite statement. Good enough. Close enough to the statement. You got it. You absolutely got it. Yeah, we have a bunch of ride or die people here. We do. They have been very, very supportive of my girlfriend, like you wouldn't believe. And I respect that. I am very, Deborah, I'll handle it. I promise. I'll handle it. Yeah. All right, people. What do you think?
Thank you, Chris and Melinda, for posting my channel. I appreciate that. Guys, I have a channel. It's called Relatable Reese. I do a lot of Jester content. Thank you, Angel. I do a lot of Jester content over there. And so I suggest you go subscribe. Tommy is on my channel a lot. I'm on his channel a lot. Johnny is hopefully going to be involved in this to some degree, and we'll all be doing this together.
Let's rephrase that. So all of the research that you're seeing right now was me and Johnny spending about 5 hours going through all of the stuff that Reese has already got. Now, he's not sitting next to me because of what he's doing, but he's already put a pretty decent amount of time into this.
Well, I knew he was doing stuff behind the scenes. I just didn't know if he was going to do stuff like on his channel. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's pretty fired up about it. So,
Thank you,
something, the beautiful thing about this story is if you show this story to 4 or 5 people, right? No one watches this and walks away going, who cares? They may have at one time, but they don't anymore. Enough people care about this that it's getting ugly. Now, they don't have anybody to take their side because their side sucks. Honestly, the only people that are going to support these scumbags are going to be other brothers. Everybody else, right? Everybody else thinks that there's something really wrong with this. Strength in numbers. You're absolutely right.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate that.
CH Loving Life has an interesting question. How did you stop? And I saw somebody ask a similar question. Like someone said, were you still like intimate with your husband after you found out all of this? I was. Yeah. I remained married to him for a long time. I checked out mentally. I really started to hate the guy. I felt, again, I could have probably stayed married and coexisted had he admitted to the things he was doing. The big thing for me was how can you do this? This is me talking. How can you do this? And then he would look at me and go, do what? What are you talking about? You're insane. And I would go, I have over 400 pictures of this stuff. And he'd go, sweetheart, no, you don't. And you know what he would say to me all the time? And I mean, all the time. It would get me going so much. He'd look at me. It was so creepy. And he'd go, honey, your thoughts have no basis in reality. You don't have any education. You came from Scientology, so you don't really know what you're talking about. And that's okay. That's okay. That's what he would do. And I was like, this is insane that he's doing this. And I would say every time, do you really think I'm going to break? Like, what do you think you're going to accomplish here? This is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So,
You
it
chose
was,
poorly.
you
Honestly,
didn't
he
pick the
thought
right
because
girl.
you had been, because you had been with a jester, right? He was way off base. They do choose and pick people because they believe that they got a match that's going to work. He just had no idea who you were. He just had no idea who you were.
Every time I'd hold up my phone and go, I have evidence of this, he'd go, your thoughts don't have any basis in reality. And then he would say, why are we paying for this therapist? You're obviously not getting better. It was insane. I was like, brother, I came from Scientology. Like it's called bull baiting. I had to have this kind of stuff every day. This is never going to, you're not going to chip away at this in any way, shape, or form. But I had a hard time with it. I would say toward the end, I even said to my closest friend who knew of all this information, I would say, I think I'm starting to slip mentally. I feel like I'm starting to go a little bit insane, like I'm in a cage and I'm starting to go a little bit nuts. So I think it all happened. Everything happened. It was divine. How I got out of there, my channel, how everybody helped me. Tommy came and saved us. I got my child out of there before anything bad happened. It all worked out. And I'm very grateful for that.
You know what? That's a very kind thing to say, and I was really blessed to be able to go out there and be with you. I don't know if that's the right terminology, though. You know what I mean? You're a pretty strong chick. I don't think I came out there and saved you, but I certainly came out there to be with my girl, and I'm glad that I did. But you'd have made it. You're a lot stronger. I did 13 years in federal prison. You still scare the hell out of me. And he just was too stupid to know who you were.
Hey, I still
Well, I
needed
say
the
that
muscle.
nothing but respect. Nothing but respect.
I still needed the muscle.
Well, I'm glad you got it.
No,
I'm glad you got it.
seriously. In all seriousness, there was a night you were live and we talked about this and he started screaming at me upstairs and I thought, oh no, here it comes. Because he had gotten physical with me and I have audio recordings of that. So I mean, that was one of the reasons I really wanted Tommy there and I got my child out of there because he had gotten physical. There was a time he got physical with me and I said, I'm going to call the police. And he was a city councilman and that was frightening. And he said, call the police. You'll go to jail. And I said, no, because my son's here and he's a witness to what you just did. And he said, yeah, but he's about to leave for the summer. And he said he won't be here to be a witness to what's going to happen. And I thought, oh my God, I have to get out of here. I thought he's got some kind of a plan in place. And it was absolutely like, I did feel fearful in that moment. I thought, oh man, this is like a movie and I got to get out of here. So I needed Tommy to at least come and be there as a witness if something were to happen. And I do believe, Tommy, I believe wholeheartedly. I sent my son with my parents. And if I would have stayed in that house and packed myself up to leave, I think something would have happened to me.
I agree with you. That the night that he started yelling, and you know what? If you're a crew member here, you might remember because I did one of these things where I was like, I did the mute and then yelled.
I was like,
I
you
got
just
on the
went
phone
away
and was
from, I
like,
couldn't hear you.
I'm going. That's because I muted it so I could
Yeah,
scream.
he texted me from live in the basement of my house and he said, I'm coming up there. And I said to the husband, I said, you got a pit bull in the basement and I really don't want to let him off the leash. So I said, I really recommend that you treat me with respect because he doesn't take disrespecting women kindly. And he said to me, he goes, I don't want to be on the other receiving end of that. And, but no, I really do believe 5 jesters showed up at my house the day we were moving out. He had his friends come over. And I believe 100% something would have happened to me. I think he would have had those guys come over and threaten me. I just don't think I would have gotten out of there with you there easily. Do you? I don't.
No, he was such a shit. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say it. He was so disrespectful. I have a great mom. I had a really good dad, and I wasn't beat as a kid. I was blessed. But if I said something disrespectful to a woman, my dad was going to get my attention in ways that sucked. Right? He was very serious about that. And nobody taught your imbecile ex-husband how to
And
talk
how
to
many
women.
times did I try to leave? There were times during that marriage toward the end, it got really ugly. And I would try to leave. I would try to get my kid and leave, and he would take my car keys. And he would say, "You're
Turn
not
off your
going
credit
anywhere."
cards, take your car keys, like
He
all
would
of
take
this.
he
Yeah.
would take my car keys, or I had no money. He borrowed every cent I had from my husband that had passed away. And
Borrowed?
there, yeah.
Well,
And
there's a euphemism.
and he drained me intentionally. I think these jesters do that to these wives. So he gave me a credit card that was in his name, and he gave me the credit card, and every time I would go to pay for groceries, if I'd go to Target, anything, the second I would get there, I didn't know this, he'd shut off the credit card. So then I would go to pay and it would decline, and I would come home embarrassed, and he would go, "Well, you'll get rewarded and you can pay for things when you don't bring up the jesters. Every time you bring up the jesters, you will be punished and you will begin to obey." And I was like, "Oh, it got so much more twisted toward the end. You just have no idea. It was insane."
And if you doubt anything that she just said, we have recordings that you'll be able to listen to that will prove it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, he didn't borrow. Borrowing give people back their money. No, what he did was he stole it, and you can call it whatever you want. But here's the good news, right? Here is the good news. The good news is we have a team in place to tell the story the way that it needs to be told, right? Plain and simple. We need your help, and all we want you to do is treat this story exactly how it touches you. If you hear this and you think just a couple of guys getting together and hiring a hooker, who cares? Then move on. You don't have to watch the next one. I get it. That's who you are. But if this pissed you off as much as it did us, leave a comment. I don't care if the comment says thanks, because it's going to drive the algorithm. It's going to make more people see this. And I don't care if they demonetize it, but a bunch of people need to see it. This isn't about money.
Also,
really
share
isn't.
this video. So, like, don't
Correct.
just leave a comment, but if this actually means something, you share it. Share this video wherever you can share it.
With
We want it
everybody.
to get attention. This needs to get attention. It will get attention when we go on bigger platforms, of course, but it doesn't hurt to start now, right?
Correct. And this is the year. I promise you, people, when they go, how did this get away with this 100 years? Because there was no P. Diddy, right? There was no Voldemort, the other Sean. There wasn't the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch. There weren't the 3 Alexander brothers. We got so many cases right now that are jumping, that are shining a light on rich people who treat women and people that they could take advantage of, younger boys, whatever, like cattle, because they have money and they can do whatever they want. As a world, we're sick of it.
People were being threatened and intimidated. I mean, they were not just him. Those guys were threatening me as a group and intimidating me, saying, "You think you're the first wife? You will be silenced." So for the last however many decades, they've been doing that, and it's probably been working. And I'm probably not the bright one for not listening, but I have too much, and I don't think they're going to come after me because of that. They would be stupid to do that. There's way too much, and that it's in way too many hands.
I love it. Yes, they have a lot of merch. They have more merch than you could possibly wrap your brain around. Honestly, the Grateful Dead doesn't have more merchandise than the Royal Order of Jesters. No one has more merch than the Royal Order of Jesters.
That's so true.
In plain sight. Thank you, Lady O. Lady O says, I'm going to share the shite out of this. Recent Tommy, these guys are so disgusting. They are. They are absolutely disgusting. It is awful. Thank you. So stick around. We're going to lay this puppy out, and we're going to show you virtually everything that we've got. And the best part is that since we rolled this thing out, which is about July, right? There have been people all over the place saying, if they had anything, they would have released it. They don't have anything. You just saw this much. The videos, and the only reason we're not doing it all right now, I know people are like, release it. We're going to release it in a way that everyone can share it easily. We're going to put this thing into videos instead of lives because they get pushed in a different way, right? The algorithm treats videos different than it treats lives.
Let us put together the video and then we will do a live releasing it that way too.
Yep.
I would like to do a live and go over each piece that we have and talk it through. But we also want to have something in a nice edited format so that people can just easily share it. And also we need to edit some of it because some of the women's names are on these, obviously plane tickets, flights. There's a lot of naked women shared in these emails. I don't want to share that stuff with you guys. It's not productive. And I don't want to expose these ladies. It's not something I'm after doing.
Maureen, they have found a way to work the government, and they claim that they are a historic deal that are keeping it's keeping history alive through what it is. In other words, like look at the guys that do historical reenactments of Civil War battles, right? Those people can say, well, we're tax exempt because we're keeping a part of history alive. It's like a museum or whatever. So the money that they bring in, they don't pay tax on because they're giving back. Kids go and watch that and go, oh, I understand. What they're doing is getting away. Oh, kid, they're getting away with getting around a law, claiming that they're keeping history alive by doing these stupid things that the book of the play where they're trying to hook up the knowledge of Shakespeare and his death. It's all bullshit. It's just a way to get tax free. It's all it is. It's all it is. It's a hustle, and it's a hustle we're about to expose. The fact that they have a museum. If you have a museum, you could take money in and all of those things. So they have a museum. If you have a museum, you're always going to be tax exempt. But their museum is not even listed on the museum registry. It's a museum only for guys who are jesters. Right? Nobody's going to that museum unless they're already a member of the Royal Order of Jesters, which kind of screws the idea of, well, you're teaching people what? How far back did the women start? My husband's grandfather was a jester. We can't answer that question, right? We can't. I can tell you that I have found some really risque shit going back to about 1940, but it's just risque. I can't find stories that go anything farther than that. But from its inception, this has been a group of people that wanted to be able to do what their brothers in the Masons could never do, right? In other words, the Masons say you got to overcome the desires of the body and not give in. And if it's drink, you got to be temperate so that you don't get drunk and act stupid and blah, blah, blah. And then the Jesters went, no, we want to do all that, right? We want hookers, we want booze, we want drugs. Like we want to go hard. And that's what they created.
Thank you, Rebecca. That's a kind thing to say.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. Our fear is that much that they're going to be able to do that. And do you know why? Defamation has a defense. It's called the truth. If what you are saying is the truth, doesn't matter how you say it, it's not defamation.
And how is it not the truth? I mean, we're showing it. We didn't doctor this. We didn't make this up. We're showing it. It's from their mouths, their keyboards.
It's funny that you ask. A lot of people have said, how can I find out if they're in my town and what can I do about that? Oddly enough, there is a show that we are going to be rolling out called How Can I Help? Right? And we're going to tell you every single thing that you can do. However, today, share this. Share it. Share it with somebody on your list. Say, hey, man, you got to check this out. Leave a comment, share, do all of those YouTube things. If you have not hit subscribe to Relatable Reese, if you got a wrench, throw that up in my chat, please. Thanks, guys. If you've not hit subscribe to Relatable Reese, do it because we're going to be doing
also
at least half of it over there.
I hope they do sue us for a defamation.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I would love for these guys to be deposed, and I would love to give the thousands of pieces of evidence to a judge. I would love that.
Yeah.
Would love it. Please sue us, please.
Yeah, I'm fond of the concept of discovery. It would sure be fun to sit down and go, why don't you tell us how you joined? What year? Yeah, they're trust me. It's like the cult of Scientology. They don't want to open themselves up either.
Kid, but hey, did you say hi to it?
Kid
did you say hi to it?
She is a sexy kitty.
Did you see how chubby?
Hey, be kind. Be kind.
It's the holidays.
It's called discovery for a reason. Yes, it is, Maureen. Yes, it is. And thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Hux is definitely safe. They can't shut us down on YouTube, and it's
Huxley is safe, and Huxley is super hyper aware because we've had conversations with him about this. He is not in a state of fear. We're
Not
not
at all.
scaring him, but he is aware.
Yep.
Huxley has had to grow up that way anyway. Coming out of Scientology, we've had these conversations. Guys, when I got out of Scientology, there was around the clock private investigators sitting outside of my house filming me and taking photos. Doing that to him when he would walk to the school bus. So Huxley is well aware of his environment, his surroundings, and I'm not worried they're going to do something to a kid.
This is a great point, because a lot of people will say, aren't you worried that, if this does get anywhere near a court, what you're going to end up with is a prosecutor that's a jester and a judge
that would be
jester.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, because I got news for you. These idiots. Love, could you hold up that book again?
Which one?
Just real quickly, the one with all their photos in it. This is one court, right? The number of these books that we have would blow your mind, because people send them to us now, right?
Put that comment down, would you?
Yep. Oh, sorry.
This is the president's court because it's Harry Truman. This has every jester in it. Everything, their phone numbers, their wives' names, date of birth, where they work, what they do. Same with this guy.
So if we end up in a court, we're going to go through those books and go, I'm sorry, Johnson? Hey, aren't you a jester? Here, check out this book. God, let that happen. God, please let that happen. That would be awesome. Really
Christy Anise, Huxley is my son. Yes, his name's Huxley. He's 15.
Somebody just wished me a happy Festivus. Alrighty, people. I don't want to keep my girlfriend too much longer. She's probably getting a little tired, and I may turn into a pumpkin. No, Timothy Glass, I don't believe that they have the balls to actually harm me. And I'll tell you something. I'm not basing this out of nothing, right? I've had the fortune and the ability to stand near these guys, some of them in her old house when they showed up to intimidate us. And they're cowards, every last one of them.
And one of them was a Kansas City homicide. He was a Kansas City homicide detective.
Yeah. And they don't have the nuts they were born with. Let's keep it real. They don't. This is why they leak up in groups and do the things that they do. But my girl does. And all of you do. We're going to appreciate all the support, because we're going to call on it. You know what? We all watch YouTube channels. They're fun. This isn't a show anymore. Not this part of it. Right? For real. These people screwed over so many wives. You got any idea how many wives have been screwed over? 100,000 people currently, a 101-year-old. How many wives got lied to? How many wives got cheated on? Well, I think it's time. Not anymore, kid. Not anymore. We're going to get you better. We'll get you trade up. Alrighty, people.
Hey guys, I want to say thank you for subscribing to my channel. Mark Hardman, again, so good to see you. And thank you for coming over to my channel. Thank you for watching this tonight. It means the world. I realize it's a holiday week and you have things you can do with your time. You guys are probably busy. So thank you. And I want to say happy holidays. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it, and just have a great holiday week. Tommy and I will both be doing content this week for those that are alone. I definitely will be doing a show every day, because I want to make sure people are feeling connection.
Thank you. And I'm going to leave with this. I'm not a good person, right? I'm not. I've struggled with this my entire life, but I'm really trying super hard to be a better person. This is a great cause. It's important to me. A couple of you said some things today that were so offensive to me that on any other day, I'd have lost my shit, thrown you out of here, and gone postal. You know who you are. You said things designed to make me uncomfortable. You get a pass because what I was talking about today was that important. Come back next time and do that, and watch me get rid of you. You know who I'm talking to, don't you? Have a great day, everybody. I love you. Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody. Bye-bye now.